Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
This week, in Morrice, Michigan, a seemingly very normal guy has a quick fall into madness that eventually leads to some strange situations and possibly cannibalism. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmie, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another, we say another insane edition or crazy every week, but wow, is this crazy. I'm telling you, buckle up. This is one of those where it starts, you'll never, ever predict where it ends up. It's one of those you just go, that hit me out of left field. So very quickly before we get started, definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
Get your tickets. Chicago, August the 12th. We're sold out through August the 12th, but August the 12th, Chicago, it will be our biggest show ever, Chicago. As of right now, it will be. So let's make it even bigger. Let's sell this bad boy out and have a good time. It's going to be a Chicago-only live show. So this story, you'll only see it in Chicago this year. Right. If you want to see it. So it's going to be a lot of fun and lots of tickets available in a couple other cities. A lot of them are sold out, but we still have some left in Dallas, a few left in D.C. Like I'm talking 20, I think, is left or something like that. They're just about sold out. Philly, Atlanta, Charlotte. So get in there right now, get your tickets, and come see us for a live show. They are fun. I'm telling you, if you're on the fence about it, it's a comedy show.
It's great.
And there's a wild murder story with pictures and everything else. Crazy stuff. We can't wait to see everybody out there. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get the tickets, I'm telling you. Also, patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get access to everything we put out bonus-wise. The whole back catalog, couple hundred episodes, not to mention new ones every other week. One crime and sports, one small-town murder, and you get it all. This week, what you're going to get as your bonus episodes are for crime and sports, which you get, obviously. We're going to talk about theme park disasters.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we talked about defunct theme parks, and some of them were defunct because of disasters. Let's talk about a ton of weird, terrible theme park disasters. And then for small-town murder, we're going to talk about something that relates to last week's show. We're going to talk about prison riots.
All right.
Some of the craziest prison riots we've ever heard of in history. So that's going to be wild. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show, of course, where Jimmie will mispronounce your name while wanting so desperately to get it correct. So do that. Also, definitely keep an ear out. Your stupid opinions coming soon. We say it every week, and I'm telling you right now, the show's done. We're waiting on other people to do things that we can't control. So it's a business thing. We're sorry. We do want it to come out, and thank you so much for being impatient for it. Thank you. We're impatient too. So thank you.
I like the idea.
I'm telling you, it'll be every week after that once it's out. We will not mess you up at all. So keep an ear out for that. That said, disclaimer, this is a comedy show.
It is.
We are comedians. That does not mean we make up anything in the story for comic effect. Everything is unfortunately real that you're going to hear about. And thing is, you don't have to make jokes at bad times. That's the thing about it. You can be tasteful about the whole thing. There's nothing funny about the actual act of a murder. There's just nothing funny about, he cut his head off? That's hilarious. That's not funny. But what's funny is, I don't know, a small-town police force bumbling an investigation for a year, a murderer going, I think I can get away with this. Sure, I'm cutting him up in my living room, and my carpet's soaked through right to the floorboards with blood, but I'm pretty sure I can get away with it. That's crazy and funny when you think about that. So that said, what we don't do, what we go out of our way not to do, is we never make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why is that, James?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. So that's how it works. So for the rest of you, though, if you think true crime and comedy should never, ever, ever go together, I don't know. Maybe that's number one. Who are you? But number two, makes it a little easier to digest, in my opinion. But come on, just a little lighten it up a little bit. But if you think that's fine, it's your right to feel that way. And maybe you won't like us, maybe you won't. But for the rest of you who definitely want to hear a crazy story, wow, I think it's time, everyone, to sit back, Rick, arms to the sky, people, and let's all shout, "Shut up and give me murder!" All right, let's do this. Let's go on a trip. Shall we? We're going up to Michigan. There we go. Bumpy roads and all. Michigan here. We're going to Morrice, Michigan.
How far north is it?
It's central Michigan.
Okay.
It's a half hour outside Lansing. Okay. So not very far. This is Morrice is Morrice. So I've heard it pronounced Morrice, but I looked at a local newscast of the high school football team's highlights, and they called it Morrice. Morrice repeatedly, so it's Morrice. At least according to the local news. Complain to your local news if there's a problem.
It could be Morrice.
Yeah, it's Morrice, but they said more ice is what I've heard other people say. Like more ice, please. That sort of thing. Okay. It's about an hour and a half to Detroit, about a half hour to Lansing, Michigan, like we said. About an hour and a half to Canton Township, which was our last episode, the not-so-missing spouse, which was a wild one, too. This is in Shiawassee County, which I'm sure I'm saying incorrectly, but there it is. Area code 517. Motto here, and this is a ballsy motto for this community, quote, "We are a community on the grow." There is nobody here. First of all, there never has been.
Well, maybe they're on the go, James.
I don't think if they're on the not on the grow, they're on the go. You think? So, history of this town: 1838. William Morrice, with the same spelling.
Really?
He came to the area, bought 160 acres northwest of some people's farm, and he just married his childhood sweetheart and all this type of shit.
Not the tobacco guy?
No, different guy. William, not Morrice, like regular Morris. This is the town spelling.
Oh, William Morrice.
Morrice, yeah, the town.
Okay.
They had new land. They built a cabin. They had no bed for a long time, so they slept on the ground and listened to the wolves outside.
Oh, my God.
The wolves knew they were there and would come up to the door of the cabin and howl, which sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Really does. So his 3 brothers ended up settling nearby, and people from Scotland were the first people here, pretty much main people here. There's also Bennington Township, which is right next to here. It's on the border, and this story you'll hear, they always reference it as Bennington Township, but it's actually Morrice is the actual address of where this all happened. But they founded a church in 1839, the First Presbyterian Church of Bennington, later changed to Morrice, and they founded the church strictly on the abstinence from alcohol platform.
Really?
In 1839, yeah. People met at each other's houses and later at the school, and they really hated booze a lot. So,
in what year was this?
1839, about 80 years before,
really ahead of
60
the curve.
years, 80 years before Prohibition. Yeah, it's a lot. That would happen in times, in waves, because the late 1880s, there was waves of these women's groups that were going into taverns and breaking everything up. Right. They were going and busting shit up. They were pissed their husbands were drunk all the time and would beat the shit out of them. So they get in large groups like the society women, and they go in with hammers and break all the booze bottles. And the guys would just stand there. What they can do? Clothesline her hat off her big fucking fancy hat off her head. It's Victorian times.
You also got to protect the last glass of booze you've got.
Yeah, got to hold it tight. So they had 1911. They finally had an actual incorporation of the town, and they had a big party 15 years later, and they had barbecue lunches and free coffee for everybody. Oh boy, that sounds. They also had a 3-legged race, a bicycle race, an obstacle race, wrestling matches, a tug of war, and the old pie eating contest. Gotta have that, and of course, the greased pole climbing. Gotta have that. So,
just have a beer, you guys. It'll be so much better.
Just come on. You're going to be so much happier. I was going to say abstinence from alcohol did not stick in Michigan. If you've ever been to Michigan.
No, it did not.
They went the opposite way. Good for them.
Yeah.
So this place in the 1990s started expanding a little bit because I guess a lot of the professors at Michigan State University found this town.
Oh.
It's only a half hour away, and they can 45 minutes, and they can drive. So it's one of the few communities remaining, by the way, that has no chain stores or franchises. Okay. So it's still like a kind of a small town there.
Yeah, no corporate America yet.
Not really. Hasn't gotten. I don't know if because there's no money to be made there.
Yeah,
which we'll find out. There's not a lot of people there also. And if it's not a big drive-through area,
McDonald's doesn't give a fuck how many people are there. They want a store there.
Anybody.
They got to move these. Got to move these McMuffins.
But you got to have like a road that's going through that people are driving on with a sign where they'll pull off and go to the McDonald's. Otherwise, you're really gonna, going to be a McDonald's that goes out of business, and that's rare. So you don't want
to be that guy.
You don't want to be that guy. I couldn't sell fucking hamburgers to French fries. I couldn't make people want McDonald's French fries.
I couldn't sell McDonald's cheeseburgers to anybody.
Wow. Over 50, 60 billion served, but not here.
Not this one.
Here it's been bad.
I got
Reviews. 12. I got 12 served. Reviews of this town, 5 stars. Okay. Morrice is a beautiful small town with friendly neighbors. Small town community that is kept clean and nice in appearance. Always have great service at local businesses.
Always.
5 star. Always. Never a problem. Okay.
Never a bad day. All right.
Never a bad day. I don't believe anybody who's like that, by the way. 4 stars. Morrice is a small village halfway between Lansing, Flint, and Owasco. Owasso. Jesus. Okay. Owosso. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ayahuasca. Flint and Ayahuasca. It has easy access to the I-69. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. That's right. I-69. High five. We have easy access, baby, to the old 69er. We have a bank, post office, hardware, superette. I don't know what the hell that is. A grocery store?
Does that mean Super 8?
Superette. Miniature super, like a small grocery store. I don't know. Yeah. And a gas station. We have our own Class D school. Is that good? I don't know what that means.
Class D.
Class D? That doesn't sound good.
Don't brag about that. That's the fourth letter.
That sounds like they don't really have books per se.
Right.
They just they see what's in like USA Today and they're just going to flip through it and they're like, I don't know. This is in color. The kids will look. Class D, along with our own police and fire departments. Terrific.
Yeah. All
So
right.
they're just happy to have a fire department here.
Yeah, they
People
were
in this town-
educated in Class D school.
Yeah, they're like, listen, we got fire departments. We're good. People in this town, 1,521. It's
tiny,
that's a tiny town. It is way more female than male. I'm talking
Really?
54% female, which is
Holy.
way out of whack for everything.
Find me in Morris.
But median age is low, 33.4, which is much lower than the average.
Young women?
No, children. These are.
Oh, okay.
It's 10% 0 to 4 and 11% 5 to 9. So 20% of the population is between 0 and 9 years old here.
Jesus Christ.
7% 10 to 14. They're all high. All the kid demographics are super high. All the old people demographics are low because otherwise they'll freeze to death in Michigan. They have to leave when they're old. 54% married, which is higher than normal, lower divorce rate. So this is very much a family-oriented, come here and have a bunch of small children running around your big yard here. Race of this town, 94.5% white, 0.7% black. Not a lot of black people. 0.0% Asian, 3.1% Hispanic. It's a lot. It's white people in Michigan.
Yeah.
Religion here is low, actually. 50% is normal for religious. Here it's 32.8%, and it is mixed up pretty good, except the highest here is Catholic, which, as we know, Catholics are the Baptists of the North, and they're in here too. In this county, in the last presidential election in Shiawassee County, 39% of the people voted Democratic, 58.9% voted Republican, 2% independent. Their unemployment rate's about average here. Median household income is like $200 from being the actual national average for median. Yeah, this is like your small town America, middle of the road, kind of stereotypical small town America, what you would think of. Main Street USA type of shit, without even a McDonald's or a Panera Bread or some shit marring the landscape. So
what the fuck are they doing for money?
We'll find out.
Okay.
100 is the cost of living. That's regular average. Here it's 84, so it's a little low. Housing is the lowest. Median home cost here, $187,200.
This place is a little secret, huh?
It seems to be. So, but the thing is, the houses are not what you would really want. And to tell you about all the houses you would not really want, just in case you're thinking of moving here, we have for you the Morrice, Michigan Real Estate Report. Your average two-bedroom rental here is $990, so that's cheaper than normal. Here's a three-bedroom, two-bath, 1,344 square foot. I don't know what it is exactly. This is the thing. I don't know if it's manufactured. I don't know if it's like a big trailer that they welded two trailers together. I don't know what it is, but it has that corrugated metal along the bottom of it, which is not a good sign. I don't see regular houses with that ever.
That's just there to hide the tires.
That means, or something to hide that means no foundation, correct?
Right.
Or no.
Right.
Okay, no basement
to keep
for
the
sure.
possums out from underneath there.
Yeah, it's to keep the groundhogs from living there. So this house here, I mean, it's okay. All these houses look the same. All three of these houses, they look the same with different amenities. This one actually isn't that bad. It's not that dated inside. It's not that bad.
Fairly new.
$78,900.
Not bad.
Not bad, but like I said, I don't know what you're buying. But
It's got brake lights on it.
It's somewhere. They're hidden under some lattice, but it's there.
Yeah.
I found here's a three-bedroom, two-bath, 1,680 square feet, and it's kind of the same setup on the outside with the corrugated shit on the bottom. It's strange, though. It has these weird round cabinets in the kitchen that stick out, that are like, they come out and they're like rounded. So I don't know. They seem like the one on, if you open one on one side, it would go right through to the other. So there's no real cabinet space because it seems like
all lazy Susans?
Every three cabinets is just one cabinet. So it's really weird here. It's a private community. It's an old person house that you can tell by it. There's two chairs sitting like by the TV in the living room. Very old person. $104,900 for that, though.
All right.
And then here is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,960 square feet.
There you go.
It's really weird. It says it's built in 2005, but it looks like it's from the 80s inside.
Really?
So I don't know if in 2005 they were like, give me a 1984 kitchen. That's what I really want. Very strange house. It's odd. It has wood paneling in it and shit. Who put wood paneling up in 2005?
In 2005?
I mean, I get it's the Midwest, but come on, guys.
They're getting back to it today, too, though. People are doing
today,
it a lot.
Yeah, and then in 30 years, people are going to, ew, look at that.
Ew,
That's
why'd
disgusting.
you do that? Yeah.
$144,900 for this house.
Okay. So everything's very affordable.
Everything, and that's kind of all there is. There's only 4 houses available in the whole town. Those are 3 of them, so
There's only
enjoy.
1,500 people here.
Yeah. Things to do in this town.
Okay.
The Michigan Honey Festival.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. The Michigan Honey Festival is a fun, inexpensive, and informative weekend for everyone. Young and old, non-beekeepers, newbies, with quotes around it, new bees, not like an I-E-E-E, and seasoned beekeepers alike. Our attendees, sponsors, and vendors and volunteers will walk away with something. All our attendees, but you'll walk away with something bee-related.
Okay.
This sounds like you're going to stand in a field all day and hope not to get stung by bees. It sounds. And I like bees. Bees are cool.
Yeah.
We have the little habitat things to make the nests in. We put those out. Those are neat. Those are cool. But yeah, this is going to be. And now I'm not walking around because now I'm terrified of getting struck by lightning after the other day.
Yeah, you're not getting any storms.
This is insane that I'm alive. I'll be honest with you, everybody. I'm not
10
even
feet
kidding.
away.
Jimmie was on the phone with me on FaceTime. There was absolutely, witness Sarah saw it. A lightning bolt struck. I think it's 11 feet from where I was standing.
Yeah.
It was the brightest, loudest thing in the world. Left a hole with a burn mark in my driveway right there. And I was standing right. It was the fucking craziest thing in the world. I'm still
the screen went white and it was instant noise, and you go, I think that was close by. I was like, James, that was right there.
Yeah, it was right fucking there.
I was like, look around, man. There's a mark somewhere.
I just jumped and ran in. I ran inside. I screamed like a 4-year-old girl and ran inside.
And Sarah found it the next morning. Is it a good 3-4 inch hole in the asphalt out there?
Not that big, but the burn mark around it has got some. It's a good
small
burn
hole,
mark
like an
around
inch maybe across?
Yeah, maybe an inch and a half across the hole.
That's
but it's
a fat bolt of lightning, man.
It's burned all around it, and I'm like, that would have definitely killed me. So almost didn't get to make
James,
this.
That's all electricity. The whole
electricity.
Thing. That's crazy.
Right there. I almost was basically dust, I would assume. Ashes and sneakers, I think I would have been.
A big chunk of Italian sausage.
Pile of ashes sitting on my Pumas. That would have been
Put them in the sauce.
Fuck, man. Yeah, it would have been sauteed nicely. So there is honey judging here, by the way. It says, beekeepers, bring in your honey to get an idea of what a honey show is like. Get your liquid honey or beeswax judged. See the list of rules below. Okay. All entries must have been produced within the last 12 months, which makes it sound like a sperm sample, and I'm disgusted by that. Do you have your sample? Did you produce it?
That is the worst part of a vasectomy, is when you have to bring the sample to have them test it, and then it's like, they're like, when was this collected? And you're like, yeah, the shame. It's like, just a few minutes ago, I have my dick in my hand. I'm so sorry.
I've produced this very recently, is what has happened here. Wow. All honey entries will have 3 of each item. Only liquid entries accepted. 3 1-pound jars. Exhibitors are allowed 1 entry per class/color grade. Jesus.
They are very specific.
Entries must have no identifying labels or marks on the entries other than the marks placed on them by show officials. All entries must be entered and in place before the program begins on Sunday. You can't sneak any honey in later on.
There's a lot of cheating involved.
Standard honey jars, Gambler, Queen Line, etc. are acceptable. No other jars, canning, jelly, etc. will be accepted. Metal or plastic caps may be used. It sounds like a sperm sample you're giving. It really does. Beeswax in 2 classes. 3 1-pound blocks, artistic presentation that shall use a minimum of 1 pound of beeswax. And finally, rule number 10, decisions of the judges are final.
Oh, there's no bribing afterwards?
Don't you fucking dare Try to go bitching
Change
later.
your mind, Ted.
Trying to get some, trying to, I want to recount. None of that shit. Judges will tell you who's got the best wax, and you go the fuck home with your bees and shut up about it. That's it.
We should show up as pimps and be like, I want to judge the honeys.
I want to judge the honeys. Oh, what? Oh,
What?
we misunderstood. I think we misunderstood what's going on here. Entries not picked up by 5 p.m. on Sunday become property of the Michigan Honey Festival. They will keep your beeswax. There will be none of your beeswax anymore. Be all theirs. Tips: each jar should be identical to the next, weight, color, etc. Make sure your jars are clean, no fingerprints or smudges.
Oh, my God.
Don't tip your jars or turn them upside down, because that'll make the honey run down.
Right.
Look like shit. So there you go. Not a lot to do in this town.
No.
That's what we just said.
Very specific about honey, for Christ's sake.
Go to a field and watch people be really serious about beeswax and honey, like way too serious about it.
Incredibly overcritical about bees and honey.
Their jar was smudged. Oh, boy. Well,
Let's see his fucking fingerprints.
the jar is smudged. You can't have that. So crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, it's a safe little town, too. It's about property crime, about 1/3 below national average. So,
Very safe.
very safe. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is less than under half the average.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, it is extremely safe for as far as that goes. Right. That said, let's talk about one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard about in my life. Okay.
It's always in these towns.
It's always in it's so nice.
Incredibly safe.
On this wonderful, leafy, fucking idyllic little street with kids riding their tricycles. Listen to what happened in this
horrific
house.
stories you've ever heard.
Oh, my God. Jesus, I wonder if DoorDash will bring liquor there. We'll see. So we'll get into that later in the show. We'll talk about the DoorDash incident later on in the show. Poor Jimmie had no tequila, and I was out a shitload of money, and nobody got anything. So
upsetting.
we'll get into that later. Yeah. Wow. So let's talk about this murder. Let's talk about a man first, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Wilk Alikos Vilkas.
Huh?
A.K.A. Edgar Thomas Hill, A.K.A. William Gregory Dean, A.K.A. Mark David Latunsky.
Why?
Well, he's an interesting fella. Mark David Latunsky is his given name, actually what he was his legal name, we'll say. The rest of them are various aliases that he'll use at different times for different reasons and different ideas that he has. So he's born in 1969. And this story, by the way, is very recent. Like, it just wrapped up. It's a very recent story. He was born to Jack and Ruth. They lived in Morrice. That's his mom and dad. He had a family farm that he grew up on.
Okay.
I mean, he grew up on a family farm in a small town in Michigan. And, does very well. His father is a local 4-H club leader, 4-H leader. Into agriculture. This whole thing here. His father raised beef cattle to show in competitions.
Oh.
And so Mark got into that as well when he was a kid. But, kind of as he started to be a teenager, he realized farming wasn't his calling.
Okay.
He just didn't want to be a farmer, not really in his wheelhouse of interests.
He's allowed.
And he's very intelligent. Not that farmers can't be very intelligent, but we'll hear what he's into. I don't know if he would have been satisfied farming because he's real into like chemistry and physics and he's very, very smart in science and stuff. Okay. So I feel like he needs to be stimulated more than, which could help on a farm, I would assume. You could probably help out, but
there's
I don't know.
Plenty of shit to do on a farm. There's always something that needs to be done.
But you have to be a farm person to really to enjoy that. You have to be a person who really loves the farm. Otherwise, if you put either one of us on a farm, we're not going to enjoy it.
I'd like it for maybe 3-4 days.
3-4 days? By noon, you would be like, my back is so fucked up right now. Seriously, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop for the day. We'll see. You wouldn't last 4 hours on a farm, and neither would I, so I'm not making fun of you. I
know I'd have a great time with it, but I'd be in vain. Oh, I'd hurt.
I mean, I'd be like, can we start at why do we have to start so early? The cows don't know when they're eating. They don't care.
We say we bring them food around noon.
So like 1:30, you know what I mean? We'll eat at noon, and then 1:30 we'll bring them food.
How do we
doing
know
here?
they're not saying bring it at noon?
We don't know.
They're
That's what I'm
telling
saying.
us what time they want the food.
How am I supposed to know what these cow? I don't think they'll know the difference. As long as we feed them at the same time every day, I think it's fine. I don't get. Let's just skew our day later 5 hours. What do you say? This is nuts. What are we doing? Why do you need to be back in the house by 4 p.m.? What are you waiting for? I'll hang out until the evening. It's good. In the summer, there's long nights. What are we doing?
I'm sitting still. My elbow still feels like I'm moving it. It hurts so bad. What did I lift? Why does it hurt like this?
Why does it hurt to milk a cow? That shouldn't hurt that bad, right? If my hand's arthritic. What's going on?
What is in that bag?
Jesus Christ.
Why does it hurt so bad?
We would be the worst farm hands ever. Here are your two new farm hands, James and Jimmie. It sure is beautiful out here. Wow. That'd be the last positive words.
It'd be funny for boss for about an hour. They'd be like, you fucking jerks.
You idiots. Till one of us gets like caught in a thresher. They'd be like, okay, the alive one can leave. You got to get out of here, and we got to clean this one up over here.
Bury your friend and get off my farm.
I'd like you to bury your friend in the animal cemetery and then get on out of here. So, wow. In 1987... He is at Morrice High School, and he is one of the schools recognized on the list of top 10 students in the high school. He's a member, and he's an athlete, too. He's a member of the cross-country team. He's in the National Honor Society. Yeah. He's on the Quiz Bowl team.
Okay.
He's on the forensics team. I didn't know high schools in the 80s had a forensics team.
That's new.
Wow. And also was senior class treasurer and was active as a yearbook member, too, involved in the making of the yearbook. All his yearbook pictures, he's glasses and sweaters over collared shirts.
Oh.
Like, he's got the real Alex P. Keaton, Michael J. Fox Family Ties look going on, but with glasses, too. I'm studious. Look at me.
Yes.
Look, my homework's done. Need to cheat off someone's test? I'm your guy.
Me. Yeah,
I'm your guy. Trust me.
There might be milk money in my pocket too.
It's whoever you're closer to, me or the Asian girl. But either way, I'm here for you. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So he's doing all of that. He's amazing at school. I mean, he is the class's valedictorian in 1987.
Jesus.
So He does all of that and has the best grades, not only good grades, the best grades. So this guy has a capacity to, that's a lot.
Succeed, yeah.
Yeah, that's so much in high school to do.
He's wired to do things all day.
I mean, he's always got an activity, and then he's got to go home and do homework and all this shit. Especially, he's in like hard classes too. He's in like, honors classes and physics
AP
classes,
shit,
AP shit, and he's trying to, that's wild, man. Yeah. So he wants to attend Central Michigan University, and that's where he goes, to major in chemistry.
Oh.
So, yeah, he's a science guy, man. This isn't like, he's not just going to like party and drink beer.
Right.
If you're going for chemistry, you got to actually study and shit.
He wants to be involved, yeah.
Big time. So he gets a bachelor's degree in chemistry in 1991. And right after he graduates in 91, he gets an internship for the Dow Chemical Company as well.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're a chemist, you got to work for people who make chemicals, and those are never great people, by the way.
No.
You're never going to be like, I'm working for the best, just the nicest people you want to believe. No, they really care about everybody. They're a chemical company.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they put poison in the groundwater and things like that, and nothing you buy of theirs is, your kids will have cancer and everything, but still, it's wonderful. No one ever says that. He went on to earn his master's degree in chemistry after he moved on to Iowa State University and earned his master's degree there.
Sure.
He's, whatever road he wants to be on in this chemistry road, he is on it and killing it right now.
He's capable of any of it, yeah.
Yeah, this is a guy who, works hard, has it all together.
Yeah.
Just the amount of together you have to have it to keep all that shit straight. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about all that shit and like, wow, I couldn't keep all that straight.
No.
These shows are difficult to keep straight. You know what I mean? I can't, and this is nothing compared to like 8 different high school things and chemistry and all this shit. It's wild. So I'm impressed.
Very
already.
overwhelmed. I'm trying my best to pay my water bill and keep my house clean, and I don't know how people do this every day.
I don't know how it's, how do things get trimmed and stuff? There's bushes that are out of control.
How's your place just stay nice? How do you do it?
It's wild, isn't it? People they must have a list, I think.
I
think people are making lists out there of things to do, and we're not doing that. We're just grabbing willy-nilly out of our brain, whatever
and
comes to us.
Everybody living in the house has a thing to do, and all of it coordinates to make it look nice. How do you do it?
There's a chart, huh? There's a chart.
I tell my kids, take out the trash. The trash gets taken out, and then what? How do I make the rest of this clean?
Trash is out. Now there's no bag in the can because the kids, they'll take it out, but they'll never replace the bag.
Now I can't put anything in that can.
Now you throw something disgusting in there, next thing you know, you're outside with the hose because there's no bag in there. We've all done it.
God damn it.
So Mark here, he moves home after he graduates.
Okay.
At first, and accepts a job working as a research chemist at Flint Ink, a manufacturer of commercial printing inks.
Okay.
So that's what he's doing. He's doing very well for himself. He's making good money doing that, especially for a single guy.
Yeah.
He's a single guy swinging, making decent money.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got chemistry going for him. What do you want here? So he stays in this free swinging lifestyle until his early 30s, when he gets set up on by mutual friends on a date with a young lady named Emily.
Oh. Okay.
So, he gets set up. They go out for Chinese food their first night.
Great choice.
Not in Morrice, probably, but somewhere else, because it was 0.0% Asian. So
the fuck out of there.
It had to be in another town, I would assume. Now, Emily says of him, to have somebody describe his personality, and this isn't surprising for someone who was a chemistry major and valedictorian. She says he was always a little bit awkward.
Oh.
Which, I could see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like it, He's
Anthony
Michael Hall in The Breakfast Club. That's who he is. It's exactly who the kid is. Like,
little on the nerdy side, but fine, yeah.
But
he's
fine,
functional.
So as an adult, though, that's the thing, because they were both in their 30s.
Yeah.
When you're like 19, you're like, oh, this guy's awkward. By the time you're in your 30s, you're like, okay, if they're not going to murder me and they have a job, let's get through the awkward thing and see if I like what's underneath that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be cool on the surface. So fuck that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Are you going to beat the shit out of me and gamble all our money away? No. Are you an alcoholic? No, this is great then. Maybe we can make this work. You're by mid-30s, your standards change.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. Cool isn't really a thing anymore.
You tolerate a lot.
You tolerate a lot. She said, I liked him a lot. He was very considerate and kind. I fell in love with that side of him. He was very gentle.
Oh.
So that's what he is. He's a gentle, sweet, nerdy, grown-up Anthony Michael Hall from the Breakfast Club. That's all he is there.
Yeah.
So they date about a year, and once they're dating about a year, they purchase a home together.
Terrific.
It's Morrice. If you put everybody says Bennington Township, but if you put the address in, it comes up Morrice. So that's why it's Morrice. Okay. They are married in 2001.
Oh.
So yeah, he's 41 at the time, or he's 41. 42 at that point. So it's he held out for a while here to get married, but he gets married. Oh, I'm sorry, 32.
32.
Not 42.
Yeah,
32.
Young.
Good math on me. So they buy a home at 703 West Tyrell Road in Morrice, and they have 4 children together.
Wow.
So yeah, right away, because both of them are like, all right, she's in her mid-30s, she wants to start having kids. By 2003, their son is born. That's their first child.
Okay.
And then they would have 3 girls after that.
Wow.
All in a row. 2004, 2007, 2010. Every 3 years.
Yeah.
They had a kid. So that's, again, planning. We'll have children every 3 years. And then they have their shit together.
Every 2 years, I'm getting you pregnant.
I'll get you pregnant. That's a good time for that. It's good spacing. You know what I mean?
9 months to get that thing out, and then you got a 2-year break because it's coming again.
It's one out of diapers.
Yeah.
Okay, this one goes out of diapers. Now you have this one. It's
right.
like
that's
that.
Genius.
So you're not changing 2 diapers all the time, which feels like that's the way they planned it, just based on the type of people they seem to be.
Smart, yeah.
Shit together type of people, And they have kind of this they have a 5-acre property here.
Wow.
It's kind of an idyllic little life. They raise goats and chickens and ducks and rabbits.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
the cutest of the animals.
Think about the little kids frolicking around with little baby chickens and ducks and shit and all that. Goats.
So cute.
They stink, though. They stink terribly. Chickens, too. They're disgustingly smelly.
They're vile, yeah.
But you see if you take a picture, though.
Yeah.
You
can't
look at the
smell
little goat by the kid. That's what I mean. You got little baby chickens running around, ducks and little rabbits. All of these things are making a copious amount of shit. But in a picture, you just see happy kids running. You don't see cleaning the shit off of them later on.
Instagram's flooded with amazing images.
You don't see someone holding a child's boot later, scraping the shit out of the divots with fucking screwdrivers. Getting a flathead screwdriver and
dragging it through the waffle.
through the waffle of the little Nikes. So, holy shit. So that's what they're doing here. Emily rides horses.
Yeah.
They have enough room to have horses and shit on the property. They have family trips. They go on family vacation every year.
Of course they do.
All 4 kids jump in the family truckster. They go to Disney World.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is for both of us who grew up less than this.
Less than anything.
Less than anything like this. This is crazy. Imagine growing up on a farm with your parents together and having their shit together and
giving a
having
shit about
jobs.
Each other. Yeah.
And the animals are taken care of well and their things are going well. And you're going, look, come on, kids. Where are we going this year? Kids, Disney World or Disneyland? And I don't know. In California. That's crazy. Wow.
And nary a rib is showing on any of your pets.
No.
This is incredible.
They're all fed and looking great. They've been to the vet recently. Yeah. None of them have worms or anything. Everything's going great.
Even the animals have doctors. This is incredible.
They come right to the house. Emily and the kids would join Mark when he used to have to travel for Kentucky to work all the time. I guess he had to every once in a while go to Kentucky and all. Come on, we'll make it a family vacation together down there, all the way down to Kentucky. So there was a dinosaur park near where he worked down there that the kids really liked. So come on, kids.
Okay.
Yeah, what a family. This is awesome.
Okay. Is it like a fossil park, or is it just
No, it's real dinosaurs walking around. You can pet them. No, I know. I don't know if it's like
animatronic
dinosaur themed park.
Yeah.
Or if it's like Cabazon when you're driving to California, just giant concrete dinosaurs. I don't know what it is. or maybe fossils. But seems like if they would like to visit it, I think you get bored with fossils after once or twice. They probably have rides and dinosaur themed shit, I suppose. It has to be. Yeah. So someone will correct us and say, nope, it's just one fossil.
It's a rock zoo.
Damn it. It's a rock zoo. That's all it is. So this is just, by the way, you have no idea where this is going.
None.
You have no clue where this is going.
Not
right
a
now.
bit of it. Yeah.
Not at all where you think it's going. So he's very busy with work, but his wife says, Emily says he's very attentive to the kids. Okay. He's a great father, she says, just terrific. They said that it's kind of a hectic family, all these animals and jobs and working and all this, but they make it work and they're all very happy and they seem to thrive on the chaos that's going around. It's good chaos, not bad chaos.
Controlled
it's not chaos. Yeah, it's not bad chaos like, I don't know, mom hasn't been home for 3 days and dad got fired again and he's been on an alcoholic bender for a week and a half. None of that shit's going on. So he works for American Chemical Technologies, Inc., which just sounds like a warm, cuddly company, doesn't it? Just sounds like you could just settle in and stay there forever. And
there's a class action somewhere. This is not good.
Oh, many, I'm sure. This is Camp Lejeune's involved. There's probably a lot.
There's a vaginal mesh.
There's a vaginal fucking, take that, vaginal prolapse. Is that Jenna Maroney? So it doesn't sound all that nice, but I guess a very good job. It's in Fowlerville. He's making over $100,000 a year at his job, and they got the farm going on. So life could not be better for this family. My God, idyllic. Take a picture, fucking paint it up, Norman Rockwell. It is
wonderful,
wild. So some things start to change. I guess a couple weeks after their youngest daughter was born, which is 2010. Now, normally, for a woman, obviously, when you have a kid, there's a lot of crazy hormones that are going on that you were pregnant, now you're not, and it's why postpartum depression exists and all that sort of thing. You don't normally... the stitch itch, that's probably worse. So you get all of that. You don't usually hear about that from the husband's point of view, though. Usually the husband doesn't, because nothing's been inside their body, causing massive damage and hormonal changes and all that sort of shit.
Also, you've done this 3 times before.
It's the 4th kid.
Yeah.
But Emily said within a couple weeks of their youngest being born, something seemed different with him. Yeah. Started to act different. She said he started saying things that just didn't make any sense out of nowhere. Just weird shit where they're like, that's odd. Why did he say that? Strange things. Things like, and this I'll quote Emily, quote, he believed that he wasn't actually his mother's son, but that he was his mother's brother.
Okay. Gross.
Which is the opposite of what people pretend, by the way.
What do you mean?
Okay. They wouldn't, if he wasn't her actual son, a lot of times back in the day when like a young lady would get pregnant in the family, they'd hide her for 9 months. Then they'd pretend like the parents had the kid. That's what they do. And they'd call the kid that girl's brother. And that's how it would work. There's a lot of people that found that later on that, oh shit, my fucking aunt is actually whatever, my mother. You know what I mean?
They gave my dad to his aunt, and
there you go.
Because she was the older sister, and she just raised him.
That was less embarrassing for the family, for the parents to have a kid than the
I don't know
teenager.
what they did with the other daughter so she could recover from having a goddamn child.
Who knows?
How do you hide her for a little bit?
Oh, they would send them away and say she's away at camp, at class, at boarding school. They just send them. She's staying at a relative's farm for a year.
Jesus.
They'd have all sorts of excuses, and they would send the kid out.
Shame involved or something?
Oh yeah, in the 60s. Before that, there was the teenage girls pregnant in a small town. The whole town. Oh, the shame, the scandal. But you wouldn't pretend that he belonged to the girl when he was actually the parents' kid. No one would pretend that. You pretend the opposite is what I was saying. So it doesn't make any sense. She said, quote, and that they were hiding that from him because there was some sort of family inheritance that he was going to inherit. But he had to do all the right things. He had to say all the right things. He believed that there were people watching him to make sure that he did that. So to recap, Not only is he not his mother's son, he's actually his mother's brother. They're hiding the fact that he is one of his mother's siblings because there's some inheritance coming to that generation of the family that they don't want him to have. And if he doesn't stay in line and say what he's supposed to say, they're watching him, and then he's going to get slashed out of the will or out of the inheritance. Or whatever.
How did he get here?
That's what I mean. So it seems odd. And she said this was just out of nowhere. He started saying shit like this, and she's like, I don't think so. Like, I think
you don't understand. It's Truman Show.
Yeah, it is. They're all watching me all the time. And she was like, at some point, she said, I think you should maybe talk to somebody here, get some help, because what you're saying isn't making sense. You know, she's like, I love you. I promise you that I'm not trying to put one over on you. I really want you to understand that you're not thinking straight here.
Right.
So this continues. His mental state just declines and declines and declines over the next 2 years.
Sure.
He is diagnosed in 2010 and then again in 2012 because he's hospitalized multiple times with severe recurrent chronic major depression with psychotic features, adjustment disorder with depression and anxiety, with paranoid schizophrenia and borderline personality traits.
What happened?
This is a wild cocktail. This is like, let's put some gasoline. You got napalm? Throw that in there too. Gasoline, napalm, anything else is flammable we could throw into one mixture.
Throw some fertilizer on it.
That'll do a trick there. Holy balls. That is.
What happened?
Bring the kerosene. Holy shit.
Is that just too much pressure, too much shit happening, and
and
this you just snap?
It's weird because this is a lot of stuff that usually would come out younger.
Yeah.
Like paranoid schizophrenia, that happens in college and high school a lot of times. Usually it doesn't happen
you get
like
into your 30s and almost 40s and then it snaps in.
Yeah, he's like 41 with 4 kids and shit, and all of a sudden now he's got paranoid schizophrenic.
Now I'm borderline.
It's strange. It's almost like, did he have like a head injury? Not that head injuries cause mental illness, but sometimes you can knock you a little off, or I don't know what it is, but
perhaps
everything
procreating is just bad for you.
Yeah, I guess so. Even just fucking dropping a load, apparently, because like I said, I could see if the wife had this, because who knows what 4 kids do to your hormones. It could mess your whole chemistry up or something, but this is like he had a stroke or something. This is crazy. He's prescribed medication, which he starts taking, but very, very quickly stops taking it. Decides he doesn't like the medication, doesn't like the way it makes him feel. The medication isn't helping him, he thinks. It's helping them hide. Yeah, it's keeping it in, the stuff that he needs to get out that's important. It's hiding it now. So it's part of the conspiracy.
Certainly not working.
It's part of the conspiracy, Jimmy. That's how it goes. So, and that's how a lot of people feel with medications. They feel different, so they feel like, it's terrible. I feel bad for people like that. So, 2013, they continue to try to treat him with medication, but he just will take it for a bit, then not take it, and when he stops taking it, he goes completely.
You can't do it that way.
Yeah, he goes completely off the deep end when he stops taking it, and so she doesn't know from day to day if he's taking it or not, or if he stopped, and if he's going to freak out on her or be normal.
Gotta be consistent.
And work, apparently, his job, because he keeps this job he has through 2019, so they're very understanding, this job. I mean, he must be a hell of a chemist, first of all. I mean, honestly, he must be amazing, this guy. Jesus Christ. So his wife said, though, he doesn't like to take the medicine, and when he doesn't take his medicine, he does some strange things. And they asked her, well, what kind of strange things does he do? And she said, well, he'll watch torture and horror-type movies and videos of that nature. He'll talk to himself. He'll stay out all night, not at bars or anything, just outside. Not out partying or just like,
out on the patio.
Where is him? Where is he? Who? No, in the woods over there. Who knows? He's just wandering. So he's just out all night, wandering around, which is very strange. He will threaten to get rid of all of his children's animals.
Okay.
I don't know if they're listening and they know too much or what, the animals. That he'll claim that his son isn't his child out of nowhere. He'll stop showering and shaving for days at a time. And get all scruffy and shit and smell and be he'll get all smelly running around threatening animals and saying, that's not my kid, and I'm going to watch a torture video while I wander around the yard. Okay. This is, crazy, weird, and kind of scary if you're a woman who's trying to raise 4 kids in this environment, and you don't know. It's hard enough to raise 4 kids that are ranging in age from 10 to fucking 2. That's rough.
Without a guy wandering into the woods talking to himself about getting rid of all the animals.
Yeah, you have to worry about him more than you would your children at this point, because you're worried he's going to hurt somebody or hurt himself or who the hell knows. Also, she finds out about some other issues that he's having that don't really have much to do with his mental condition, but just have to do with what he's up to. She finds out, and he admits to her that during this time period, he has been cheating on her as well.
With who?
With men that he meets online.
Oh.
Yeah. He's cheating on her with dudes that he meets on apps and shit and that sort of thing. And he's been meeting them for sex. And sometimes when he wanders around the yard, he'll disappear, and that's where he goes.
Oh.
So, yeah. And also when he's at work sometimes late, she's used to him working late all the time, so she doesn't know when he's actually working late or when he's got hookups that he talks about.
Huh.
So she says, quote, this is Emily, quote, he was always working, and now looking back, I think, oh my gosh, I was so stupid, I should have known.
Should have known that he was
cheating, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would know he was cheating with guys. That would be a stretch.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing if you're really blaming yourself for missing that one.
Damn it, I'm not clairvoyant. I didn't know my husband was into dudes.
He's into guys. It's so obvious.
So strange. I thought he used to watch American Gladiators too much back in the day. I don't know. So,
do you think maybe, it doesn't. Is he gay and he repressed it for so long it drove him crazy?
I know. I mean,
who knows?
Jesus.
I'm not a doctor.
I don't know if that would be. It's not like holding down like a chemical in a where it's going to build up steam and pressure and explode. I don't think.
Is the craving for cock that crazy?
That it would give you a chemical imbalance? Right. Jesus, I would hope not. That only semen can balance out. I don't think so. I'm neither a chemist nor a doctor, so I'm not sure though. So maybe I'm not the best guy to ask about this. I don't know. So, the marriage obviously is suffering and having some problems during all this, clearly, because, he's cheating, number one. I don't care who you're cheating with, he's cheating outside the house.
But he's definitely cheating? He's not just saying it?
He admitted it. No. Yeah. She thought so, and she caught him. She found something and caught him, and then he went, yeah, you're right, this is what I do. I cheat all the time with these guys I meet online. Wow. This is in addition to threatening the animals, and that's not my kid, and all this type of shit. So she says, we need marriage counseling. That's what we need.
Is that what we need?
I don't know if that's what we need here. I think we're beyond marriage counseling.
I think we need some paperwork dissolving this one.
You're insane. You won't take your medication, and you're fucking not only just dudes you meet online outside the marriage and lying to me. We need way more than this. How about lawyers more than doctors is what we need right now.
You're sucking Craigslist dick, bottom of the barrel dick, and we don't need to talk about it.
I'm done with this shit. Yeah. So they begin sleeping separately while they go to counseling and all this. And his mental health, Mark's mental health, continues to spiral out of control.
Declining, yeah.
He now begins accusing his wife of being part of the conspiracy run by the overseers of an enormous trust fund that he's set to receive that doesn't actually exist.
Oh, my.
It's completely in his mind. There is no giant trust fund that he's got and all this shit, but he thinks that there's all these people that were watching him and all that to make sure he says the right thing, and he's his mother's brother, not her son. All that shit. Also, she's like hired by them. Right. So she's really, you're going method to get into this role. I'm going to have 4 kids with this guy. 4 of them.
My.
And buy a house and, ride horses. This is a big setup, man. Talk about it goes deep. Yeah, this is like some royal family shit. You can't get away with this shit unless you're that deep. So he's doing all of that nutty stuff, and then he ends up having stints in psychiatric treatment centers twice in 2012.
Oh.
Rough year. Again in 2013. Mm-hmm. And it'll happen again later on. Never helps.
Oh.
He's in, they let him out, and he's the same guy. Won't take his medication because they'll put him in there, they medicate him.
Yeah.
And then in a few days, he's fine.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, you seem okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then they let him out, and he goes right in the fucking garbage with that shit. Who else is in the conspiracy?
Right.
It's fucking nuts. I mean, that's tough. If someone won't, you can't, what do you do? I mean, other than have them in a facility where you stuff the medication in their face every day, how do you force
them to a wall or some shit?
How do you force a free person to take medication?
Impossible.
Like you can't. I mean, obviously, or else, we wouldn't have heard shit from Kanye in the last fucking 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Seriously.
Yeah.
The only thing in the news about him would be like, oh, he got a divorce from her and put out a new album. Okay.
Right.
Oh, those are his shoes. Oh, those are terribly ugly like the rest of them. Awesome. That would be it.
Machine Gun Kelly would have never met.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been like, I think that Hitler had good ideas. Like, we wouldn't have heard any of that shit if he'd be on this. So
yeah,
he ends up at one point he reports his wife to CPS for child neglect.
Oh.
Which is completely unfounded. He just gets mad and calls there, and they say the accusations were made up. The police investigate it, and there's nothing to it. It's just him being crazy. I mean,
bullshit.
Honestly. Yeah, but they have to investigate the claims. But
what are just neglect? Just overall
neglect? For child neglect. Now, when he calls the cops for anything, they should go, Mark, you taking your medicine, buddy?
Hey, pal.
Anything. Unless he says, my house is on fire. Then maybe drive by and take a look. But otherwise, you taking your meds, pal?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it could be anything. So by May of 2012, Emily and the children move out, and she files for divorce.
Uh-huh.
So it's over by this point. So what he does is, this is crazy, over the course of the next year or so, he'll kidnap the kids, he'll keep her from the kids. He'll make frivolous claims to CPS about her again. He'll claim that she and her brother were trying to murder him by poisoning a well on his property.
He is so much fun.
He'll call the cops and go, I got to report something. My ex-wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, you know how these things go in the courts. They take forever. Anyway, her and her brother trying to kill me by poisoning my well.
Oh, boy.
And they go, Mark, you taking your medicine, buddy?
Yeah.
That should have been the response to that. Hey, pal, you take your pills this morning? No. He's going to be charged in 2013 for custodial kidnapping.
Yeah, custodial interference.
This they call it custodial kidnapping as the actual charge.
Right?
Yeah, well, you'll hear the details here. The charges will eventually be dismissed after several competency hearings. They go, well, I mean, he's obviously out of his fucking mind. So the court had granted Mark unsupervised visits with the kids. Somehow. Unsupervised, even though he's in and out of mental hospitals. Yeah. So during one visit, they were supposed to go to they went to a water park in Dundee, and he did not return the kids at the scheduled time. So she called the police, who learned that Mark had taken them to a water park and would not return them. They got a hold of him, and he said, I'm not bringing them back. They called him on his cell phone. He's like, nope, they're mine. I'm keeping them.
Yeah.
Or like, you can't do that. You have a custodial agreement. You have to bring them back. And he said, well, I'm keeping them. So they went, well, you're under arrest then for custodial kidnapping, you fucking moron. That's not how this works. So they arrested him. Now it's a felony charge of kidnapping.
Wow.
This time. Before it was custodial kidnapping. Now it's just kidnapping.
He's done it before.
He's done it before. That's the thing. So the case is again dismissed after court-ordered competency evaluation finds him mentally incompetent to stand trial in 2014.
At what point do you not let him see the children if he's got these, you know what I mean?
Well, she's trying to get it so if he's allowed to see the children, it's only in a supervised capacity. Yeah. But the court let him have unsupervised visits, which is nuts. And now there's this. And now after this, he goes nearly 4 years without seeing his kids at all.
4 years?
4 years. After he takes them to the water park, he doesn't see them again for a little less than 4 years.
Last time I saw Dad, he almost gave us Giardia, and now...
Yeah. It was... I did love the water park. It was wonderful. We had a great time. Better than that dinosaur shit we went to in Kentucky, but still.
Yeah. I shit my brains out for 3 days afterwards, but it was so much fun.
That's part of the experience. It's part of the experience.
Swimming in diaper water.
It's nice. You can eat anything you want for like 4 days after it, and you won't gain a pound. It's wonderful. I just eat like pie and Burger King and shit for like 4 days because it's coming right out. Liquid time. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals and things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up. For energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it, and get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order, plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Calling all dog owners. Your furry friend deserves top-notch nourishment, and Ollie delivers the clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world, with absolutely no harmful fillers or preservatives. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, or fresh lamb with cranberries, you might start thinking, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Ollie. Give your pup a fresh start this new year by letting them taste test a personalized meal plan with Ollie. Head to ollie.com/Wondery. Tell them all about your dog and use code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wondery and enter code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie.
So in 2013, late in 2013, Mark kills Mark.
Oh.
Makes sense? Obviously not.
Yeah.
It's coming out of his
ceremony?
mind. Well, in 2013, he went to the police station and introduced himself as, "Hello, I'm William Gregory Dean." And they went, "Okay.
Good to meet you, Billy."
Sure. And he said, "I have killed Mark Lutinsky with the stroke of a pen."
Okay. Yeah.
Because they're like, "Well, I'm William Gregory Dean." And they're like, "That's nice."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I killed Mark Lutinsky." So cuffs are coming out and they're going around the counter. And then he goes, "With the stroke of a pen." And they're like, "Who are you, you asshole? What do you want from us? You fucking idiot."
What is this, magic comedy? What are you doing?
So he left, and then there's a call to the police a little while later to come get him because he's unconscious lying in his father's house now.
Okay.
When they get there, they find him pretending to be unconscious lying in his father's house. He's not actually unconscious. He pretended to be unconscious at his dad's house, which is a little bit weird. This was September 3rd, 2013. He just walked into the Lansing Police Department and said, "Hi, I'm this guy, and here's my fake birthday. I killed Lutinsky with a stroke of a pen," and they ended up later on stopping by his house for a welfare check. Yeah. I'd do that probably once a day. Just have somebody just take a swing by.
Somebody on first name basis with him that just pops through every now and again.
Just make sure he's not wearing a golden retriever's head as a hat. That's all. Right. Just, you know what I'm saying? If everything's good.
Mittens and slippers.
Yeah. Let's just hope, after that we can move on. So he made a retriever skin rug. Let's hope that didn't happen. So they did that. They found what they called cryptic notes scattered across his kitchen. So they looked at these notes because they're like, what the fuck? There's just notes everywhere with weird shit written on them all over the kitchen. Some referenced being cursed and breaking the cycle. That's what he kept talking about. Breaking the cycle of this curse that's going on with him. So they also found references to William Gregory Dean, which is his new name, that he's just calling himself. So they ended up finding him next door at his dad's house. And again, this was when he was unconscious. And they said after some prodding, he, quote, sprang to life. Oh, I'm good, and just popped up. No problem. He told the cops, see, here's the thing is, I'm a, quote, protected person.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Like the program?
He said, listen, I'm protected, so because of that, I want to know, quote, the truth.
Oh.
And they were like, about what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how much I weigh. I don't know. What do you want to know? He also said that him and his children, by the way, who he hasn't seen in a while now, are being poisoned by a bladder tank filled with lead that his brother, not his wife's brother now it's his brother, somehow maliciously attached to the side of his house. So there's a big bladder filled with lead attached to the side of his house somehow that his brother put on there that is poisoning him and his kids, being that close to this much lead. Yeah. Imagine you're these cops. Okay. So the cops say, okay, tell you what, you show us that, then you go for a ride and we'll show you something. And he says, okay. And they show him the mental hospital.
Yeah.
They take him there and they go, you showed us the lead. We're going to drop you off here with some very nice people who are going to take good care of you.
They're going to put lead blankets on you.
No shit. So they do that. He's arrested, by the way, at the Memorial Healthcare Center on September 19th, 2013, and that's when he's criminally charged with that custodial kidnapping after that. So the criminal case continues for 18 months while they deal with psychiatric evaluations and all that. And like I said, they dismiss it in 2014. He was committed to mental hospitals 4 times during that period, too. At work, he said that, like I said, he must be a hell of a chemist because it's not like everyone at work goes, gee, he's normal here. At work, they're all like, oh, yeah, he's fucking out there, man.
He's nuts there, too?
Oh, he's nuts there, too. At work, a longtime coworker of his said that his mental illness began impacting his job performance by 2012.
Shit.
He worked there another 7 years, Jimmy.
Right.
Think about how understanding of a company this is. If you're a chemist, this is a place to work. The colleague said, quote, he just thought everyone was out to get him. That's how he rolls, man. Out to get him. Here's a strange incident that happened on September 14th, 2014.
Yeah.
Police near Grand Rapids spot him walking down the street wearing only, and I stress only, one article of clothing on his body. And you know what it is?
A beanie.
A right sock.
One sock.
Just a sock on his right foot, nothing else. Dick swinging, balls bopping back and forth.
Asshole just out there.
Oh, just out there for bugs to crawl into or anything else. Anybody to come after, do whatever.
My God.
He initially ignored the cops as they drove
Grand
next to him.
Rapids.
Yeah, just walking down the street, and they were like, hey, buddy, and he's just like strolling fucking.
Yeah.
I want to know if he had like the Saturday Night Fever strut on, or was he just walking like it was normal, or
walking like he's tired.
Yeah, walking like he's a little hunched over, like, whew, man, I've been so tired. All my clothes fell off. I've been walking so long. I have no idea. So he ignored them. Then he climbs in voluntarily into the back of the police cruiser, and they took him directly to a hospital.
Yeah.
And they said, quote, it appears that he has some mental problems when they showed up at the hospital and handed him over. And they were like, we don't know what to do with him. He's got a sock.
One sock, sorry.
Let's take that sock off, put it somewhere else. And that's a start of at least covering him up a little bit. So the Kentwood Police Department ultimately decided not to, or ultimately do request criminal charges for indecent exposure. But the prosecuting attorney declined to pursue them because he's like, you took him to a hospital, and he's in a hospital.
Right.
A guy with mental problems took his clothes off and walked down the street. Clearly, it wasn't a criminal act. He wasn't trying to show everybody anything. He's clearly out of his mind, so I'm not prosecuting this. On September 18th, so that's 4 days after this incident.
Wait, it was July 14th, wasn't it?
That was September 14th. That happened.
September, okay.
So September 18th, 4 days later, I guess he's out of the hospital.
Yeah.
His boss, Mark's boss, calls the sheriff's department to report that Mark hadn't shown up for work in the past 4 days. That's because he's been in the hospital.
Right.
But he was calling for like a welfare check. So they couldn't find him during this, too. They looked at like regular hospitals. They looked at all this shit, and they couldn't find him. Oh. So they thought he was a missing person. And then he popped out and went to work. And he was like, hey, how's it going? Been in the hospital for 4 days. He just showed back up at work, and they were like, oh, never mind.
We got him.
Call off. Yeah. So a few months later, in January 2015, he gets a kind of a positive report from a psychiatrist here. He's getting better.
Okay.
Starting to feel like, Mark might be able to pull this together. Yeah. A doctor's note records his records. They state that Mark had made, quote, adequate progress in therapy and was able to address, quote, the powerful emotions and distress from his recent divorce. His sense of paranoia and anger have subsided enough for him to function and to be held liable for the alleged custodial kidnapping incident. So this is kind of the last, is he competent? So eventually they said the charges could have sent him to prison for up to a year. They decided to give the case up, and they said that the charges were dismissed at the request of his ex-wife, Emily, who didn't want to see Mark face legal consequences of this, being that
trying to spend time with his kids. Yeah.
Well, also she knows that he's sick.
Yeah.
She watched him devolve into this, so she knows he's sick, and the fact that he's doing better, the psychiatrist says he's doing better and taking his medication. She's like, well, I don't want to see him prosecuted if he's trying to be better. Ideally, I'd like him to be doing well, paying child support and watching, taking his kids and spending time with them and being a normal father, ideally. So, the prosecutor said things had apparently been going okay. She just wanted him to play by the rules, and the case was dismissed at her request. She said that he was warned the charges would be refiled if he, quote, did anything stupid.
Okay.
So instead, he just doesn't see his kids for 4 years.
Wow.
Which is interesting. So, 2015, enter Jimmie Arnold.
Okay.
Jimmie Arnold is Mark's new husband.
Oh.
Mark marries a guy now.
Okay.
Marries a guy. So Jimmie Arnold knows nothing that's been going on. None of that stuff. Everything I just described to you, no fucking clue. He knows he has kids. He knows he was married. He has no idea. Mental problem. None of that stuff. Hospital trips. None of that. Just not telling him about any of that shit. So Jimmie said, quote, I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know it was to that extreme. He was progressively saying stranger and stranger things, like the neighbors were polluting our water supply.
Okay.
Someone's always polluting the well, whether it's his brother-in-law.
His water's never clean.
Never clean. And that's a lot of times people with mental illness that are very paranoid, that's what they're most paranoid about, is their food and their water, and someone's putting stuff in it, and they think that they're being poisoned all the time. That's a very, very common paranoia. It's really common.
I welcome it.
Yeah, come on. It's fun.
Poison me. I don't.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to do this anyway.
I got nothing better going on here at this point. Well, you know what? I am happy I didn't get struck by lightning, so maybe don't poison me. So Jimmie went on to say, they were all nonsensical. All I knew was I had to get out of that situation. Mm-hmm. But they're together for 4 years here.
Didn't divorce?
They're married. No, not at all. But so they're together for a long time. By 2019, they're still together. In February of 2019, he's still working as a chemist for the American Chemical Technologies Company. But in February, they fire him. February 2019, he's fired after 12 years of working there.
Shit.
Yeah. He refused to take his medication, and he claimed both to the employer and to anyone who would listen that his employer was trying to force him to put harmful chemicals in products that he didn't want to use. Okay. Now, it's a chemical company, so that could be true for all we know, but
who knows? Yeah.
You're not going to stay an employee long if you're saying that.
Great.
Either way.
Maybe he was exposed to something at his job that did this? Fuck,
you
man.
know, honestly, being a chemist,
anything's possible.
That is a really, really, really good point. He might have been exposed to God knows what that made him just anything to change his brain chemistry a little bit. Maybe it could have made him
chemicals.
It could have made him like some kind of, Goodwill Hunting mathematician, or could make him a little crazy, or I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So,
matter of fact, I don't feel anything.
I don't feel none. Emily said, quote, his boss was amazing. His boss was amazing, gave him so many chances and was so patient with him. You'd have to be to keep him around that long. July of 2019, he is arrested for failing to pay child support.
Okay.
Because he hasn't had a job in a few months. A July 22nd, 2019 court order states that he spent 4 days in jail for the offense.
Wow.
So 4 days in jail. Now, like I said, Jimmie didn't know any of this, wasn't aware of the mental illness. He said none of this came around until he was arrested for failing to pay child support. That's when he found everything out.
Okay.
And Jimmie said, to my knowledge, I couldn't force him to see a therapist or take medication.
True.
Like, there's no way to legally make him do that. So how do you do it? August 22nd, 2019 is a custody hearing to see if he should be allowed to see his kids at all with Emily. Okay. It's filed by Emily to suspend his parenting time. She says that Mark has a history of mental illness, has been hospitalized in the mental stress unit. Mark has a history of going off his medication, until he demonstrates that he can take it consistently. He can't be around the kids.
I need consistent behavior. Who cares about what he's taking? I just need consistent behavior.
Yeah, he can't do crazy shit at all. But usually when he's on the medication, no crazy shit happens. That's what she's saying. As long as he's on the medicine, I'm not worried about it. But if he's off his medicine, then he's off his rocker and we're fucked.
There you go.
So September of 2019, right after that, Jimmie leaves him.
Really?
Jamie's done with it. He said, it's too much drama. I'm done. Can't deal with it anymore.
At the end of 2019?
September 2019.
Okay. Decides
he's leaving him. He's gone. This is after they were doing some stuff online together that we'll talk about, though. There's some overlapping time periods here. So here he is. Mark is single. He's unemployed.
Yeah.
He's got no money. He doesn't know what to do with himself,
Not a real catch at the moment.
Not a real catch. And also when your mental state is a little off like this, it's really hard to put a good resume together. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're not your mission statement deal, that's going to be a little off, I think.
Yeah, that cover page is going to look a little
askew. Cover page, mission, to find out who's poisoning my wells and attaching this large lead bladder to the side of my house. That's not a mission that employers really want to deal with.
Get my children back and stop talking to myself.
Yeah, it's not good. So he tries to find odd jobs.
Yeah.
He tries working as a handyman.
Oh, boy.
And a contractor at one point, just trying to get anything he can, trying to make money, which is he's a hard worker. He's always been a hard worker. So he tries to do that, but that wasn't working. Nothing was working for him. So he switched courses and decided to try to work as a male escort.
Oh, boy, that's a
leap. Which is very strange for a big, bearded, 48-year-old man. 50. He's almost 50 at this point. 50-year-old man.
He's a big guy?
Yeah, he's a big, bearded 50-year-old guy.
That shows up in your door, you'd be like,
Who's paying for? Yeah, what dude is paying for that? You know what I mean? Because this is for dudes, not for ladies or anything.
Right. Yeah.
He uses the alias Wilk Olikos Vilkas at this point. This is where it's his escort alias.
Some
That's where he
Eastern
uses
European shit. Yeah.
He'll later use that in some legal matters as well, but that's what he uses. Oh yeah. Don't you worry. I believe that's Greek, by the way.
Oh, is it?
It's Greek because the one name is Greek for Wilk is Greek for wolf, apparently.
Oh.
So that's why he's going by that.
Okay.
He's a wolf, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So October 10th, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
He's very single and he's trying to find some fun stuff out there. There's a guy named James Carlson, Carlsen. He's 46 years old at the time. Okay. And Carlson met Mark's husband, Jamie Arnold, on Facebook. That's how they end up knowing each other. Now, Jamie Arnold introduces James Carlson to Mark.
Got it.
Okay. Now, they began chatting online, Mark and James Carlson. James Carlson lives in New York, so not even close to here. Yeah, just Suffolk County. So no, but yeah. So I think that's anyway. They're talking about a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
They're talking about BDSM shit and role play and sexual fantasies linked to eating people.
Oh.
They start talking about having cannibalism fetishes, which is we'll talk about this, but this is a big thing. You remember there was a big deal with that cop in New York years back where he got in trouble for
and he never did, but
he never did. Yeah. This is a whole society, man. This is a whole subculture of people here. So they begin talking about all of this. Mark had told him in a Facebook message, quote, I would need to make sure my technique was perfect, pain-free and bloodless before I did you. I know that if a pig is afraid, the meat is tough, and the blood must be let to have the meat that is tender. He says that, to which James Carlson responds, thank you, Master Chef, sir.
Is that what he is?
Apparently, he's going to cook people. He's talking about how to make the meat tender. He sounds like Gordon Ramsay talking about a fucking cow or something. This is ridiculous.
He thinks humans have to be, the blood has to be
scared.
let so that, you got to get the adrenaline out of them.
Yeah, they can't
Otherwise
be.
it sticks in the meat, you're gamey. You don't want
it's
that.
Yeah, nobody wants to be tough. I'll tell you what, nobody wants to be tough. But if I am tough, you just make jerky with me. You'll know, so I'm already tough. Lean into it.
Tough and gamey.
Tough and gamey, babe. So the two of them chat regularly online from July, pretty much through this October date. Okay. And then again later, but that's strange.
Of 2019?
2019, this is going on. Now, while they're chit-chatting online, obviously Mark is meeting other people and hanging out with them and stuff, but he's also doing some home renovations as well. Okay. He's single. What the hell? He's got time now. So he starts, quote, fixing up the basement. Which, I mean, you can finish your basement. That gives you a whole it's a whole other floor of square footage. It's something.
It's an extra house down there.
It's an extra house down there. And what you do is, and we all kind of do it the same way, I feel like, too. You want to make sure we'll see what he did and see if it's normal of what you would do to finish a basement. You put in caged, tamper-resistant lights. That's normal, right?
Yeah.
A 4-inch thick insulated door. That's normal, correct?
Got to keep that place separate. Yeah.
I mean, I would. Yeah. I mean, it's a basement. You don't want the moisture to leak into your house. You got to get a dehumidifier down there.
It fits well. Yeah, with the tamper-proof lights.
It really does. The tamper-proof lights, like in a mine. That's those that's what's in or like an Austin Powers fucking Dr. Evil hallway. They have the tamper-proof cover lights, or like a Stranger Things nuclear facility underground. He also puts in a sliding barn door that hides the entrance to the place.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
All very standard finishing the basement techniques. You put in a big screen and a lazy boy, you got yourself
it's a good place.
Real party time down there. Little mini fridge for your beer.
This should serve as a warning, too. You should have to put in tamper-proof lights and a 4-inch door, 4-inch thick door if you want a fucking barn door in your house, too.
Yes, that's what you should have to do. The other side of that bathroom door, when you slide the barn door open, there should be a 4-inch thick bank vault door in there.
And tamper-proof lights.
tamper-proof lights. So while this is going on, Carlson's going to come for a visit, James Carlson. He's going to come for a visit. So what they did is Mark somehow buys a ticket, I guess it's a bus ticket, from New York to Michigan for James Carlson.
Okay.
And it's to come visit him at his home here for the purposes of having some sexual party time, obviously.
Okay.
Just like lots of people do when they find someone online and they hook up with them eventually.
You want to fuck? Jump on the bus.
Jump on the bus. That's how you know someone wants to fuck you, by the way. If they're willing to take a 3-day-long bus trip to you.
through Pennsylvania and Ohio.
They want your dick / tits or whatever you got. Whatever you got there. So Carlson travels to Michigan. Mark picks him up at the bus stop and drives him to his house, to Mark's house. So James is exhausted from all this traveling. He's been on a Greyhound for days.
I can't imagine.
So he fell asleep in the car on the way from the bus stop to the house.
Yeah, of course.
So they arrive at his house, at Mark's house, and that's when he gets there and he goes, James Carlson says, "Oh, where's Jamie?" Because that's how they met, was through Jamie. So he knows that he's got a husband, and he says Jamie moved out already. So they go, "Well, why'd you break up?" And I'll let Jamie say that. Here, you want a quote from Jamie of why they broke up?
Jamie told us why?
Jamie tells later on, tells the press why they broke up. Quote, "We're not together anymore because he," meaning Mark, "started saying some very unusual and unreasonable things. Accusations. He claimed that the neighbor was polluting our water. He claimed that his family was not his family, that his biological family was not his, that his children were not his. He said I can no longer bathe in the house because it was toxic." The water supply, so you couldn't bathe there anymore. He said that he was dealing with mental health issues, and I don't know what to say. This is so just not him. He's a father. He has four children, but things have changed.
Yeah.
He says he's very intelligent, but he needs help managing his mental health. Back to the Carlson deal. Okay. They spend some time together, chit-chat and having some fun in the living room. I don't know, put out a dip maybe.
Cheese log with nuts all over it.
Some of that, or some like toasted onion sour cream dip that they mixed up there with some Ruffles. I don't know.
Some Sabra hummus.
Some middle of the road shit I'm thinking here. So they start putting some Sabra hummus. It's the spicy one, I assume.
The roasted red pepper.
Yeah, that's the one. So Mark at this point retrieves locks and chains. That's what he gets. And he locks James Carlson up in the basement, which is all on purpose. This is what they were going to do, by tying him down with leather straps and stating that James Carlson wasn't going anywhere. Okay. This is more than Carlson bargained for.
Oh.
He wasn't, he's starting to get scared now, very scared. Yeah. So he waits until Mark goes upstairs to get something else, and it's been a while, so he thinks Mark may have fallen asleep. He just left him down there and fell asleep. So there was a butcher's knife nearby that James gets a hold of and cuts himself out of the leather straps that Mark used to lie him down. Right. Cuts the leather. Yeah, not cuts himself. Okay. He cut his arm off and he made it escape. Yeah.
This is really going to hurt.
Wow, this is getting hardcore.
Yeah.
This is a Gravedigger song now. So at one time, once he escaped from the straps, he found his cell phone and he found Mark's car keys. And so Mark couldn't chase after him. He takes the car keys. He jumps over a fence and runs down the middle of the street while calling 911 with a butcher's knife and car keys in his hand. Okay. Gets on the phone and says, quote, "I met this guy." He says, quote, "I met this guy. He's out of breath. He's been running. I met this guy. I'm by. He's cute. He hit on me. I don't know. We went out to the car and talked. We went to the store, had a soda. I woke up in the basement."
Oh.
Which sounds like he put some shit in my soda. I woke up in a basement.
Yeah.
This is why it's dangerous to just meet people online and not bring people with you. This
reckless.
This is crazy. So that's what he tells the cops. He says, again, then he continues, quote, "I've never had anything like this happen. I don't know if he drugged me. All I know is I ended up locked in the fucking basement, okay? Chained in the basement." So within 10 minutes, cops arrive. Yeah. They find Carlson on the side of the road, And Carlson tells the cops the man who did this was a stranger. He doesn't know him.
What is the problem?
He does know him. He's been talking to him for months.
His ex-husband.
He says, I don't want to press any charges. I don't want any charges. I just wanted to be protected and get away from this guy. I don't want to press any charges. Because we don't know if he's got a job or that isn't cool with this, or if he's, who knows what his deal is.
Oh, yeah. He's got his own personal shit to deal with.
He's got his own personal shit.
Yeah,
he just wants to be private about it.
Yep.
He said that he didn't know where he was and he was in a panic. He called 911 and, that now that he's with the cops are here, he feels better and now he knows what's going on and he's, got his shit together. So the cops drop him off at a gas station. Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Here you go. So from there, he makes himself, Carlson gets to the bus station and he calls Mark.
Okay.
He must have calmed down a lot to the point where he's like, well, maybe I overreacted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went from that to maybe I overreacted and maybe I was just tired from the bus trip and was confused. I don't know. So he calls Mark. I don't know if that's what he was thinking or what. And he lets Mark know that I'm leaving. Your car keys will be at the bus station counter. I'm leaving them with the bus station people in the lost and found. I left your name. You come here, you can get your car keys. Okay. Mark said, sure, that's great, but your ticket to go back to New York's not good for another week. You're going to stay here for a week. So
you got 6 days to kill, son.
I don't know what to do. So James had no money, had nowhere to go, had a bus ticket for a week from then. So he goes back to Mark's house.
What is he doing?
He goes back to his house. And he stayed there until Mark would pay for his ticket and let him let him leave. He had said that, I don't know if he took him too seriously, like Mark took Carlson seriously, because one of the things they talked about was Carlson had a sexual fantasy involved with being treated like a pig and being butchered.
Weird.
And that's why they were talking about the pig meat and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's how that went. So they said, in the end, they said all consensual, everybody's fine. He leaves a couple days later, like 2 days later.
All right.
A couple days after he leaves, October 15th, the police are called by neighbors about a strange man searching around a ditch around Mark's house. This is another one of Mark's hookups. That is, for some reason, I don't know if he dropped his keys or what the deal is, but searching around a ditch in the dark on the side of the road by Mark's house, which is strange behavior. Now some even stranger stuff happens. November 25th, 2019, a 29-year-old man runs out of his house, screaming, bleeding from the face, running down the middle of the road, calling 911. He is wearing blood running down his face, wearing nothing but a leather kilt.
Oh.
That's it. A leather kilt is all he's wearing,
Yeah.
running down the street.
Big Rammstein fan.
Mark is chasing behind him.
Oh, that's a scene.
This is a fucking, I want to see the video footage. So, it's 2019. Someone's got a Ring doorbell or a Simply Safe. Someone's got this footage. I swear to Christ. So he says, and this is obviously scary, but this guy says, I'm trying to get away from some creepy guy. He had me tied up in his basement. This is becoming a theme now. He says that, quote, he's after me. All right. So this guy ends up running to a neighbor's home and pleads with them to call 911 to give the address to the police, because the police said, where are you? And he said, beats the shit out of me. I have no fucking idea. Right. I don't know where I am. They're like, well, you should find out. It'd be easier to help you. So a state trooper shows up at the neighbor's house, but no charges were filed again here.
What?
They said that when they talked to Mark, Mark said, yeah, I was chasing after him. He took off wearing my leather kilt. It's $300.
Oh.
Because I wanted it back. Because he can't fucking steal that.
It's a very expensive article of clothing he's stealing from me.
Yeah, that's expensive. It's a $300. It's a custom leather kilt, buddy. It's got a dick cut out for it and everything. It's a good one.
A Scottish man made that for me.
He didn't know why, but he made it. So nobody wanted to press charges, not for stealing a kilt, not for tying him down. They believed, the cops ended up saying later on, they believe, this is Police Lieutenant David Kaiser, he says he believed that the victims both wanted to keep both the kilt guy and the first guy, Carlson, wanted to keep this a secret because of, just whatever. He said, quote, nobody wanted the police there. Nobody wanted to file charges. A lot of times people have a professional life and a personal life, and they don't want to intertwine the two. Their personal life is very secret, very protected, which makes perfect sense here. Then later on, though, Carlson will get a lawyer, James Carlson, and his lawyer says, that's just not true, okay? You don't call the police unless you need the police there. So that's how it was. So no charges from anybody, and the Kaiser goes on to say sometimes people in these relationships are embarrassed, or maybe they have a professional career, and so they're very reluctant to share anything with law enforcement. Okay. It's really hard. If nobody wants to press charges, and then they both say, yeah, it's consensual BDSM, then you can't really, that's not illegal, you know what I mean?
True.
Okay, December 10th, 2019, Mark is arrested again for not paying child support.
Mm-hmm.
Police have been called out to his house about a dozen times in the last 7 years.
Good Lord.
Quite a bit, between the weird goings-on, child support arrests, just general welfare checks performed on him, everything. Let's enter someone else into this story now.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Stop it.
Not that one.
Okay.
A man named Kevin Bacon.
Somebody with the last name of Bacon had a child and landed on Kevin.
And he explains why, too. We'll talk about this in a second.
You can't.
Yeah. His date of birth, Jimmy, Kevin Bacon, 1994.
Way too late.
November
too late to be named Kevin Bacon.
1994.
Yeah.
And we'll explain this. His mother's name is Pamela. His father's name is Carl Bacon, Carl with a K. Okay? His sister's name is Jennifer Bacon.
Yeah.
They said that the father said it wasn't intentional. Father said, quote, I wanted the same initials as mine, but I didn't want Carl Jr. Very smart, by the way. He's been listening to the show.
Yeah.
He might be listening to the show. He said, so that made sense. The other Kevin Bacon wasn't quite as famous as he is now.
What are you talking about?
He was not only as famous, he had been famous and already was fucking washed up by 94, and he was ready for a comeback 10 years from then. He was so famous, he was washed up.
Wasn't that famous?
Footloose came out in 1984.
Right. It's been a decade, sir.
He was in She's Having a Baby, The Big Picture, Tremors, Flatliners, fucking He Said, She Said, JFK, A Few Good Men, The Air Up There. Right. These are all before this child was born.
Sleepers was out before this, right?
I don't think so. That was a little bit later.
Maybe 96?
That was, yes, a couple years later. But still, I think
The Air Up There was huge.
Ample Kevin Bacon out there.
Never
Ample
heard
Kevin
of him.
Bacon. Never heard of him. Wasn't quite as, didn't think it was a big deal.
Should have hit him with
bastard.
Kyle Bacon or some shit like that.
By 94, there was already 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Right.
There was people already did that by 1994. That started in the late 80s. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
You just added a 7th by putting a child into this mix. So, holy shit.
Never heard of him. What a dummy.
That's wild.
He did it on purpose. He named him Kevin Bacon because he liked Kevin Bacon, and now
he thought it was cool.
Now he feels stupid for it.
He said he just didn't know. So, young Kevin Bacon here. Young Kevin Bacon went to Schwartz, I don't know what it is, but I think it's Schwartz, because in German, SW is Schwa, right?
Is it? I don't know.
I think so. I think it's
Don't
Schwartz Creek High School. Mm-hmm. He was in band and was among the top 10 graduates with his grades. So another very smart guy, Kevin Bacon. Yeah. His mom said he was too smart for his own good, they said. Well, like laughing. He's very smart here. He graduates from high school. Like I said, top in his class there. His first job was as a receptionist at J.C. Penney's beauty salon in the mall there.
Really?
Yes. He wanted to work his way up to be a hairstylist.
Oh.
There. And there's not a lot of places around here to really do this sort of thing. In high school, he used to test out new hairdos on his girlfriends. Uh-huh. And he's gay, by the way. Yeah, he's gay.
Friends.
So, his girlfriends are girlfriends. So, and although they said he sometimes... they said he'd want to do crazy shit and do all this crazy stuff, but he became experienced to where he did somebody's hair that it would look really nice after a while. Yeah. He knew what he was doing. His friends would just let him practice on him. Carl, his dad, was a packaging engineer. I don't know what the fuck that is. Figure out how to get shit into smaller and smaller boxes.
That's a UPS driver.
Is it a packaging engineer?
I don't know.
It's probably someone in putting it on the trunk or something. Maybe not the driver. That'd be a delivery engineer.
A train driver for them?
Maybe. Now, his father didn't want him doing hairdressing. He thought he could do, because he got really good grades and was really smart. He could do something to get more money, he thought. Kevin told them that he told all his friends that Carl expected him to go into a technical trade and not be like a hairdresser. He wanted to be like a famous hairdresser.
Okay.
He wanted to be, because he was real into like Jeffree Star videos, the makeup guy and all that kind of shit. Like he's into YouTuber hair and makeup videos.
There's all kinds of things he could be into. Yeah.
That's what he's into. Yeah, all through the 2010s, that's what he's into. So he wants to be a hairdresser with a big online famous following, that sort of thing. He started out also, he went to Baker College, which was around there. He ends up getting into the college he wants to go to, which is Eastern Michigan University, but he didn't have the $200 housing deposit.
Oh.
So he doesn't go.
Oh, my God, $200 away from...
$200 away from going to college. Which is, to me, that sounds like he didn't want to go and probably use that as a reason and didn't want to tell his parents he didn't want to go, or didn't want to tell whoever it was, because
nobody's only $200 away from a fucking college experience.
No, especially this kid's got a lot of friends, man.
Yeah.
Like he's a really well-liked guy. Yeah. So he has a lot of friends, and somebody'd get him $200 if it was that important, I feel like. But who knows? I don't know. They said during college, though, he was still into doing hair. That's what he wanted to do rather than do his studying and shit. He just wanted to do hair. So eventually he dropped out and got his cosmetology license. Wow. So, but then he was frustrated with how shitty paying doing hair does. It really sucks. It's a bad business.
You got to pay every month for people to sit in that chair.
Yep. And I know this for a fact because there is a lot of people in my family in the hair business. My grandfather was a barber. Yeah. He started cutting hair when he was 13. His brother was 12 standing next to him cutting hair, and they both cut hair forever. And then I have aunts that own beauty salons. So, I know a lot about the hair business. And unless you own your own business, you're not making shit. I mean, it's really, really difficult. If you own your own shop, you can do okay.
Sure.
But if you don't, you're in bad times here. So one time he disappears, he takes off, tells his friends he's going to the UP, baby, going to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where he's going there to work. He said that he doesn't know what the job is, but it does pay very well.
Something I don't know if Upers.
Lumberjacks needed haircuts or what, but he came back 9 days later, though, saying it was the middle of fucking nowhere. It was super boring. He couldn't take it anymore. And he said one other thing. There are no other gay guys up there. He said there was nobody to talk to, nobody to try to date. Like it was just
the gay guy.
The gay guys. Like there was no potential for something. It was just, well, I'm going to sit in my room at night and not talk to anybody. So
9 days.
9.
Yep.
That's it. So he ends up going back to school, this time at the University of Michigan in Flint there. Okay. And he's working hair stuff on the sides. And he actually, all sorts of things like that. Everybody said he seems to be working toward a good future. He's trying to build a following. He's trying to do something. He also has some dark side to him, I guess you could say. Troubled side, we'll say, not dark. But he has a history of a lot of depression and especially body issues. He's a big guy. He's like 6'2", 6'3", like 280. He's a big giant guy. Yeah. He's fucking huge. And at 25, he is bald. I mean, he has lost most of his hair by 25.
Wow.
It's back to,
not a choice.
Here.
Yeah.
No. It's back to here, and he like dyes what it little he has left in like fun colors and shit because he's trying to do something. Yeah. He does hair, so he wants to look like that's what he does. So he has problems with that, obviously, with depression and body image issues. They said that he would self-harm at some points.
Sure.
They said he would eat his emotions or starve his emotions, either one. He'd be starving and binging. They said he would cut himself on his arms and legs and all that sort of thing. His roommate remembers at one point they went to see A Star is Born in 2018.
Yeah.
It's the Lady Gaga thing, right?
Is it Bradley Cooper? Yeah, it's Lady Cooper.
Lady
Cooper and Bradley Gaga.
Bradley Gaga. Lady Cooper.
Bradley Gaga.
Lady Cooper from Essex. Yes. And fucking Bradley Gaga. I like that. So they go to see Bradley Gaga in October 2018. His roommate says that he was out of it after watching the hanging scene. She said, quote, out of it.
Who?
I don't know. Someone was hanging in the movie.
Right.
I didn't see the fucking
Right.
movie. I have no idea. I'm a guy and I like women, so I've never seen A Star is Born. There's not a lot of straight guys lining up to watch A Star is Born. I'm just saying. That's no offense to anybody, but me and Jimmie are like on the road, like, let's go see A Star is Born while we're in fucking Minneapolis. What do you say? Yeah, free morning for me, buddy. Let's go see it together.
See a fucking matinee. What do you think?
Yeah, come on. Let's go see Bradley Gaga. He's looking good now. So the next day, this sucks, man. The next day, Kevin Bacon overdoses on pills and has to get his stomach pumped.
Oh, my God.
Just really depressed him. According to text messages between the roommate and Kevin Bacon's mother, that's what they figured out happened. About a month later, his mother, Kevin Bacon's mother, took him back to the hospital after he said he didn't feel safe. So he's having some problems here. Mm-hmm. In November 2019, he cut himself so many times that his roommate said you couldn't see his skin.
Jesus. Just
cutting the shit out of himself.
Shower of blood.
That's horrible, man. 2 weeks later, he checked himself again into a psychiatric treatment center. He does he has enough. He's not like Mark, who you have to wrangle up and put somewhere. He says, I don't like the way I'm feeling. I don't want to feel like this. I need help. You know what I mean? He's trying.
And he starts doing things, and he goes, Jesus, what the fuck am I doing? And then he goes and sees somebody.
The poor guy. I mean, he's just having a hard time. A lot of people are, it's depression. It's tough. So
not easy.
He said that, or his friends and his roommate said, the part of the way he dealt with depression was by finding guys online to talk to, which is what a lot of people do. It's food, drugs, sex. It's whatever your button that makes you feel better is. That's what people tend to press here. So they said that, quote, Kevin's biggest thing was he just always wanted to feel loved and never felt accepted by, men and things like that. And I think that's probably why he was always on the dating apps, Tinder and stuff like that. It's actually Grindr is what he's on, not Tinder. Right. As we'll find out later. But I don't mean that's, I'm not saying that's the gay app. I mean, he's on Grindr. We know that for a fact. So his relationships are tough. His friends say that the men he dated would often psychologically abuse him, or at least that's how he took it, so has a hard time with relationships. His roommate described one man who aggressively accused Kevin Bacon of cheating and was very abusive about it. Sure. Another man that seemed to just be using Kevin for rides. He just didn't have a car.
Yeah.
Wasn't even gay, just using him for rides.
That's the wrong app, sir. It's called Uber, not Grindr.
He picked his chick up and he's like, what the fuck? Swing by here, pick this chick up quick. Yeah. What's happening here? So they said that they were, Kevin Bacon described these two men to his roommate as, quote, projects. Oh. That Bacon would often attract broken men in hopes of fixing them. He's a fixer.
Yeah.
That's what he is, which is a lot of people of every persuasion. That's what they are. These failed relationships, though, would put him deeper into depression.
Right.
And that's how it would work here. A friend of his said that a friend that he used to hang out with, but this woman ended up moving to Chicago, said he was losing himself because he also had things that he was struggling with. Now, Bacon would visit this woman in Chicago, and they would party in Boys Town, if you don't know, Boys Town, right next to Wrigley Field is the gay area. It's like they have, rainbow crosswalks. And it's fucking,
it's awesome.
It does feel very safe, though. That's one thing.
Boy, does it.
Doesn't it feel it feels very safe. You see two dudes walking hand in hand eating eating really designer cupcakes and shit. You're like, wow, this place is the safest place ever.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity. And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep shoppers coming back with personalized experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge. In fact, it's proven, based on a report from EY, businesses on Shopify POS see real results, like 22% better total cost of ownership and benefits, equivalent to an 8.9% uplift in sales on average relative to the markets that surveyed. Want more? Check out at shopify.com/Wondery. All lowercase, and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity. Shopify.com/Wondery.
February is the month of love, and we all deserve a little something special. Dime Beauty is having their annual Valentine's sale right now, where you can get 25% off everything with code VALENTINE. It's the perfect excuse to refresh your beauty routine or pick out a thoughtful gift. At Dime, clean is more than a standard. It's their promise. Dedicated to skin-conscious ingredients, they focus on creating beauty, skincare, body care, and fragrances that are safe, gentle, and free from harsh chemicals. With Dime, you can trust what you're putting on your skin every single day. If you're looking for the perfect nighttime anti-aging cream, their TBT cream is a must-try. It's packed with clean, age-defying ingredients that nourish and hydrate your skin while you sleep. But don't just take my word for it. Over 3,000 five-star reviews speak for themselves. Whether it's skincare, fragrance, or a little bit of both, Dime has something for everyone. Visit DimeBeautyCO.com and use code VALENTINE for 25% off right now during their Valentine's Day sale. Grab your favorites before it's over. DimeBeautyCO.com.
So that's where he would go. He'd hang out, and he would vow to be, I'm going to move here. This is great. This is all, people are just like me here. Awesome. But then he would return back home, and he would struggle again. He would struggle with his finances, and he would get depressed, and then he would just search for somebody else to fix online, and it was a cycle that he would do. A friend of his described seeing him at his lowest point after a relationship ended. She said twice that fall, she had to drive him to the psychiatric hospital. She said, it's hard seeing your friend like that. He was really upset about the relationship. He just wanted so desperately to not feel like that. Yeah. Which is horrible. So he's working as a hairstylist in a Flint area JCPenney.
My God, in 2019?
In 2009. This sounds like something that was going on in 1984, doesn't it? You go, they still have those in there? Like, he's working at the photo center in Sears. Like, it might as well be that. It sounds so... I didn't know they had a hairstylist in JCPenney still, did you?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't know there was a JCPenney still around.
That's what I mean, that too. So, yeah, he's still enrolled at the University of Michigan Flint, where he had changed his major to psychology recently.
Oh, that's good.
Decided he was interested in mental health and how to help other people that might be going through the problems he's going through.
It's also helpful for yourself to figure out what the fuck is going on with me.
What's wrong in my head? And I'll save some money in therapy, maybe.
Right.
Well, if my teacher is if they're licensed, I can just pose things as questions that I might need for the curriculum and get my shit taken care of for free.
There it is.
Tuition, one stone, babe. So the Kevin Bacon here, he also has several tattoos.
Yeah.
He has tattoos. One is a hummingbird in honor of his grandmother who died from cancer. His sister said they were very close. And she told him about the diagnosis before anybody else. So they were very close. He's got several other tattoos. He's got a lot of tattoos of different things, all over his arms and stuff. So Carl Bacon says that his son was proud of who he was as a person. He said, though, he hated being in the suburban slow town of Schwartz Creek. His roommate said, quote, you come here and there's just so much really outdated. It just felt like we were missing out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they put wood paneling and shit in 2005.
Yeah, it's backwards. It's a little behind the times. That's what small towns are.
And in this small town, he's a big, husky dude with pink hair and a bunch of tattoos.
Right.
So he stands out huge in this town. Yeah. They're like, oh, you mean the gay kid over there? Like they all know him, and he stands out a lot. He sometimes would carry a purse also. Uh-huh. He had, he'd wear designer clothes at certain times and a little bit of eye makeup here and there. He just fucking, he stood out in a small town in Michigan.
Right.
You walk around fucking Greenwich Village like that, nobody will even look twice at you. Other gay guys will call you a poser.
Right.
But in small town Michigan, this is a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Big deal. So he's got the receding hairline that he would dye colors to try to act like he didn't care about it type of deal. His friends said everyone knew Kevin. He's big, he's tall, and usually had something crazy going on with him. So 2019, though, like we said, horrible, terrible year for him, but he had started by the end of the year to try to turn it around. He's making solid, concrete plans to move to Chicago to be closer to his friends and be in a more, community that fits him more. Right. He's trying to stay on a structured spending plan, but it wasn't easy, so he's always struggled for money, and that's why he hasn't moved to Chicago yet, just can't afford it. Right. So he's having family problems, his roommate says. His roommate's name is Michelle Myers, and she's a longtime friend of his and roommate. She said that he was upset one day in December after finishing up with work at the salon. He met up with his sister and his mother to do their hair, too, and then he learned from them that someone he didn't want to see was coming for dinner. I don't know who that is, but somebody. So he said he didn't want to deal with it, so he got on Grindr to look for a distraction. Okay. They said this is what he did a lot. He said he would like to, he was a young guy who talked to his friends and brag about, I hooked up with this guy and found this cool guy. Sure. Guys like to tell sex stories, whether it's with a dude or a chick. Absolutely. They have that gene no matter what.
Right.
That's just the thing we have.
A gay guy long enough, he will tell you a story of a time that he had a one-night stand. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you hang out with a regular guy you hang out with a straight guy long enough, they'll tell you the same thing. Actually, if you hang out with him for about 15 minutes, he'll probably tell you that story.
Or
the gay guy will always wait till you've had a few drinks, probably.
Or tell you a story about how a time he fucked his wife, like it's surprising.
Yeah. Fucking my wife. Great. Wow. How'd you manage that? I mean, she is legally and religiously bequeathed to me, but still, I fucked her good. So they said that, that's what he did. He used sex to escape his problems, like many young people, do here. So he's looking for a date. He's scrolling through his phone. And they discuss his plans for the evening. This is in December. This is like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve type of deal here. Yeah, Christmas Eve they're talking. So they're talking about getting some drinks at a friend's place, and he eventually finds a guy who lives nearby on Grindr.
Oh, yeah.
So it's on Grindr, and he finds the profile of a 50-year-old bearded shirtless man using the name Olikos. Which is that's what means wolf, I guess. Okay. Olikos means wolf. So variation. I'm sure I've gotten 100 tweets till then, between then and now, but there you go. So that's what he's using. So he found Mark is what he found. The online conversation is found later on. Okay. And we have this. Kevin Bacon tells Mark that he's interested in being with multiple men and strangers and being tied up. So he has a, quote, complete loss of control. That's what he's into, which a lot of people are into that sexually, the loss of control thing. So Lutinsky responds, I can make that happen.
Oh.
And then describes a fetish scenario in which Kevin Bacon would be, quote, taken naked and blindfolded and delivered to men for use. Okay. And for this to be, Mark tells Bacon that, for this to be fulfilling for you, you have to induce a fight or flight response. Yeah. You have to be panicked to be that sexually aroused, I guess, is what he's saying. I don't know. So Bacon says, right, I'd need to be basically helpless so I'd feel terrified. Yeah.
You want ropes? You gotta get some ropes.
But this is also all under the umbrella of
safety,
as we're going to do these things that all seem crazy, but it's all under a very umbrella of control. That's, I think, that's not my deal as BDSM shit, but I believe that's what's going on there.
There is an air of danger, but the whole thing is this is completely controlled.
This is all controlled and it's fine. So that's what Bacon says. Mm-hmm. Then Mark tells Kevin Bacon that he'll be blindfolded and, quote, taken to the place where he'll meet 5 men for sex.
Oh, 5.
5. He says, once the scene is over, you are returned, is what Mark says. Bacon says, quote, now just one question. You are going to keep me safe, right? And, which is a fair question. Yeah. And Mark said, I will show you how I'm going to transport you and let you determine if I am trustworthy. Okay. So Bacon replies with, hopping in the shower and I'll be ready. That's a yes. That's a green light all the way. I'm in. This seems great. So Bacon gets ready and leaves in his car shortly after 5 p.m., according to his roommate and according to the Nest doorbell camera that captured him walking out the door. That's what time it was, shortly after 5. So here we go on Christmas. This is Christmas Eve, mind you, 2019. Wow. This is right before we all thought that, hey, 2020 will be fun or whatever the fuck. This is about 2 months before everything went batshit. So,
and a few hours before the newborn king is produced.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So Mark, according to his internet history here, he began looking that morning. He began looking online for knives at about 7:30 a.m. He wakes up early on Christmas Eve to look for knives on the internet, which is what we all do over the holidays. In between searches for, quote, lore payment in gold, L-O-R-E, lore payment in gold. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. That may be an online game.
Lore payment in gold. I don't know what the fuck that is. And also, quote, sexy Navy male stripper.
Okay.
Is also another one of his... one of his search terms here. Then he searched. Jeez. He searched for daggers, butcher knives, hunting knives, and, quote, razor sharp knives. A total of 56 different searches
of knives
for different knives.
Wow.
Okay, 56 different knife searches. Sexy male stripper and lore payment in gold. He's having a weird. Sexy Navy male stripper. He's having a weird day.
He sure is.
So then he finds Kevin Bacon, which now he's going to fuck Kevin Bacon, of all things. This is so weird. Do you think he expected Kevin Bacon to show up, really? Like, Kevin Bacon has to use a different picture to keep it low profile. Otherwise, people will be lined up to bother him. So you never know. Fingers crossed. So they meet up where all great hookups start, at the Dollar General on Miller Road in Clayton Township.
Jesus.
Mark says that he pulls out a bag of, quote, fetish devices, harnesses, and restraints. He's in the car.
A bag of that, yeah.
He brought with him, and gives Kevin Bacon a minute to decide what he wanted to wear.
Pick a nice something out for yourself.
Here's wardrobe. Yeah. Here's wardrobe. Pick yourself out something nice. He said he looked at the Y harness, but it wasn't the right size, Mark said.
Yeah.
The Y harness. He put on earmuffs and blinders because he was going to an auction as part of his fantasy, and he put on the leather wrist and ankle straps.
Okay.
So that's what he wanted on. He said otherwise he was naked.
Oh my.
So this is in his van, okay? In Mark's van.
Yeah.
If a guy pulls up in a van with a bag of fetish devices, fucking get in your car and run. Jesus Christ. Have you learned nothing?
He's got a Y harness in a duffel bag. Get the fuck out of there.
Holy shit. And that's the least of the weird shit in there. So he's naked except for the things I just described. Mark gives Bacon 2 blankets to stay warm back there and to lean on. Takes Bacon's phone, clothes, money, cards, and other personal items and locks them in Bacon's car. Okay. So he has them for later. Yeah. We're going to go to a fucking auction. There's going to be 5 guys all over. You can't have your personal effects floating around. Someone could steal it. You get lost. So before all this, Bacon asks to text his friend. He goes, let me text my friend and tell him I'm okay before we put my phone away. Okay. This is 6:12 p.m. He texts Michelle Myers, who's his roommate. Right. He says, quote, I'm going to be out for a while, actually, because he said, I'll go there, I'll see what's up, I'll text you and let you know if it's cool or not, or if I'll meet up with you later on. He says, I'm going to be out for a while anyway, or actually, this is going to be fun. He's inviting more friends. Merry Dickmas. I'm not sure when I'll be back. Probably will be out late, so if Mom calls you, I'm sleeping, haha.
Gay guys have the most fun.
Merry Dickmas, everybody!
He's
Merry
bringing
Dickmas.
More friends. Merry
Am I allowed to have that as a title of an episode on a podcast app? Merry Dickmas. Can I have that?
I
think so. You know what? I think we might have to try, because that is the greatest, funniest shit I've ever heard. I know that's probably standard. Gay guys like, of course, we always say that. That's how we greet each other. I don't know,
Christmas, you guys.
Fuck, man, that's hilarious. I love it. Merry Dickmas. Lots of dicks. So Dickmas morning now comes around. Yeah. And Carl Bacon, back to Carl Bacon, he's expecting Kevin to come over for breakfast on Christmas at 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. But he never shows up that morning.
Right.
Which, I mean, if he's had a good enough night, maybe that'll explain it.
Listen.
Carl said he was concerned when he doesn't hear from Kevin, and Kevin doesn't answer his phone all day long, though, and calls on Christmas.
Yeah.
And so he calls the police at 5 p.m. on Christmas. So Carl Bacon met with the police, and later they found his son's car in the parking lot of the plaza near a Family Dollar here. Inside the car, they found his phone, wallet, clothes, all this shit. They're like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's not normal, not what they expected. So Christmas Day, on the other side, Mark's Christmas Day, Jamie invites Mark over, ex-husband Jamie invites Mark over for Christmas Day. He said that Jamie said the last time I saw Mark was on December 25th. He said that now Jamie Arnold was with another guy Christmas Eve. He had a friend over, so he definitely didn't see Mark Christmas Eve. Merry Dickmas and all, you know. So he says about Christmas Day, quote, I had some friends over and I didn't want him to be alone on Christmas. When you love someone, you don't just stop caring about them. He came over late in the afternoon and his behavior was normal as he can be anyway. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. So the next day, December 26th, you know, it is Christmas. We got to let the cops are like, we'll hit it hard tomorrow, but not really today.
Give it a shot on 26th.
We found his car. That's enough for now. So
we
December
gave you a gift.
There you go. Here he is. So that day, the police, they're still looking for him. Search parties are looking in the area of the Sports Creek Raceway. So there's search parties. His friends are looking. December 27th, they can't find Kevin Bacon. His friends are searching fields and wooded areas. Mm-hmm. That's where we've come to now. Then the police find they find Kevin Bacon's Grindr account. Finally, they get into his Grindr account. It takes days. By the way, Carl Bacon was pissed at Grindr.
Really?
Fucking mad because they weren't helpful, he said. I don't know if they were or not, but he said they weren't. So Detective Kaiser, or Lieutenant Kaiser, said, I believe the conversations contained the things they wanted to have happen. I don't know exactly what acts were discussed, but I know they were sexual in nature. We know, and they were. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Grindr. So the December 28th, Michigan State Police receive a call for assistance from the Clayton Township Police to conduct a welfare check on Kevin Bacon, who was thought to be in Mark Lutinsky's house on December 24th. Okay. So the Michigan State Police, the Clayton Township Police, they all head to Mark's house.
Yeah.
They knock on the door. He opens it.
Oh.
Wearing what, Jimmy?
Wow.
Nothing but a leather kilt.
Oh, just that kilt.
He got the kilt back. That's all he's wearing.
Yeah.
Big beard, 50 years old, nothing but a leather kilt. Awesome. Gentlemen, can I help you?
Welcome.
They said he didn't appear nervous. Mm-hmm. He appeared calm as can be. They said, you mind if we come in and look around? We're looking for somebody that we think might be here. And he says, sure, come on in. Mm-hmm. Come on, no problem.
Welcome.
So according to Michigan State Police Lieutenant Dave Kaiser, quote, troopers, sorry, I was going to say something completely different. Troopers check the upstairs. They check the main floor, and they check the basement. When they're checking the basement, they find a hidden room in the basement.
Uh-oh.
With a 4-inch thick door and protected tamper-proof lights and all that shit. Michigan State Police Trooper Robert Viviano said that he was the one to find Kevin. He described finding a disguised room, opening the door, and he said, I immediately pulled my head back and exclaimed, oh my God, oh my God.
We got it.
That's when Officer Wirtz asked what was wrong, and I told him to look. Couldn't even tell him. That's when something's really bad, you just go, look. That's how it is. Wow. There in the room, Bacon was found hanging from the ceiling by a rope, upside down, naked.
Oh, no.
Okay? Fucking unbelievable. Hanging from here. So they go upstairs after finding that and go, hey, Mark. Mind if we sit down? Maybe a cup of coffee. Let's have a...
We found a guy.
We need to have something here. So he said, there's a guy down there. Do you notice that? You noticed that probably, I would assume.
Right.
So they said, yeah, that Lutinsky said, yeah, I'll talk. Sure, no problem. Let me tell you what happened. Yeah, totally normal. He said, well, there was never any men waiting at my house to fulfill Kevin Bacon's fantasy, but he said I role-played like there was.
Yeah.
He said he thought that's what they were doing the whole time. Bacon didn't really expect 5 guys to be there at an auction. That's just a fantasy. They don't.
We're just kidding.
It's a fantasy thing. So he said Bacon remained blindfolded during the fetish play, as he called it. He said it began in the kitchen where Mark pretended to auction Kevin Bacon off. And then they moved to the basement. And he said he wasn't sure, Mark was, about how long the sexual portion of the night lasted, but they had some sex down there. I mean, enough to simulate 5 guys, so that's a lot. He said, though, when it was over with, he said that Kevin Bacon told him to kill him. He said he told me to kill him.
Yeah.
So Mark said, rather than go, no, you're crazy, I just met you, go home, he said, quote, we made an agreement. He was supposed to disappear, be gone.
What the fuck?
It's all agreed upon. It's fine. We agreed upon. This is totally cool.
Just waiting on him to go home.
Yeah, Mark said that Bacon's been suicidal in the past, and he said that, Bacon told him he could never quite pull it off, so he said I would help him disappear.
Okay.
He said they were laying on, quote, they were laying on the ground. Mark and Bacon explained how he'd been suicidal. Mark said Bacon explained how they'd been suicidal in the past, and the discussion began about how he could make Bacon's body disappear. Okay. So Mark said he just walked upstairs, grabbed a Gerber brand hunting knife with a 4 3/4 inch fixed blade that he purchased from Walmart that day, by the way.
Of course. Yeah.
Just hours earlier. Bacon said, according to Mark, quote, I'm ready. And first Mark stabbed Bacon in the back of the neck just below the hairline, he said.
Oh, wow.
But he was still alive. And so he was like, oh, no, I don't want him to suffer. So he realized he wasn't dead, so not wanting him to suffer, he slits his throat.
Oh, boy.
With a hunting knife. He said, and quote, and this is a quote from Mark, quote, if you don't need to take that in for a second. It gets worse, everybody. Quote, and then, of course, it was a matter of doing what I needed to do to complete what I told him I would do, turn him into something that would produce life. He tied Bacon's ropes to the, ankles with the ropes, fed them through a system of pulleys that he had rigged up.
And then lifted him.
And used bodybuilding weights to suspend him in the air.
Wow.
Because he needed a weigh down on that. He suspended Bacon's body upside down from the ceiling to let the blood drain out, like a deer.
Right.
He said under him was a dirt under an open trap door. Basically, in his basement, he has a trap door that goes to the dirt outside. He dripped it onto the dirt so that, it was set up this way on purpose so he could do this so that the blood could, quote, fertilize the plants outside the house.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but he's not done yet.
Right.
He then, okay. He went upstairs and he saw that in his words it was a, quote, new moon.
Oh, yeah.
Quote, it was a whole new moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dark out.
So he goes down and he cuts open Kevin Bacon's scrotum and removes his testicles.
Okay.
Removes them and takes them upstairs with him. He then pulls out a frying pan and cooks them up.
Yeah.
He even took, by the way, a photo of this.
Really?
Here. Yes. Later on, forensic analysis will find Kevin Bacon's DNA in the skillet.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's not lying at all. And Lutinsky's on the handle. He ate them. He cooked them up. Okay, bringing a guy back, eating things. This is a very Dahmery story, no? Is this... Yeah, he cooked them up and ate them. He says to the police, which they said, you ate his testicles? And he said, quote, yeah, I eat Rocky Mountain oysters anyway.
Jesus.
It was really very simple. You slice them thin, you saute them with some Worcestershire sauce, and once they're done, you just eat them.
You slice them thin? Like a...
Every
like
guy
olives?
out there just went, oh, God.
Yeah. You slice them thin like garlic?
Thin. Yes, and then saute them, apparently, with Worcestershire sauce. This guy has a fucking recipe for balls that he uses and says, like, oh, yeah, you just do that. It's all the time. So they said, based on the information from the medical examiner, Bacon died before he was hung by his ankles anyway.
Oh, okay.
Then they found the murder weapon, the knife, in a dresser drawer of Mark's there. The forensic analysis found that DNA matched to Kevin Bacon and Mark. Kevin Bacon and Mark, their DNA was on the handle. They said 470 trillion times more likely the DNA on the swabs from the handle of the knife came from Mark than anyone else on Earth. 470 trillion times.
To one.
There's only almost 7 billion people, so that's not good odds for him. Weird shit. So the forensic pathologist said the cause of death was blood loss due to sharp force injuries to the neck. So that was the stabbing and the cutting.
Just the two?
Just the two.
Oh, my God.
Toxicology reports showed an antidepressant in Kevin's bloodstream. So he was taking medication, and that's how that goes. They found out that night, when they looked through Mark's phone, that night at 2:15 a.m., Christmas morning, 2:15 a.m., Mark had texted James Carlson. Remember James Carlson?
Yeah, the guy that ran away.
Not the leather skirt guy, the other guy. He said he texted him and he said, quote, I killed Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is my heroes, which heroes, I guess, Heros, is that's what they call, cannibals call their victims, apparently.
Okay. All right.
But he didn't say I met this dude and his blah, blah, blah. He said I killed Kevin Bacon and ate him.
You would never take that serious.
You'd never say this. I killed Jeremy Irons and ate him. Yeah. Like, it could be anybody. You just pick a fucking name out of a hat. I ate him. It's very weird. The message was accompanied by a photo of the testicles cooking in the skillet.
That's not enough. That will never raise alarms.
No. They said if Carlson had believed that Mark had killed and cooked a portion of a person, they said he obviously didn't believe him. He said, quote, I hope you enjoy them. And then switched subjects and said, can I see more pics of my room?
Oh.
Like the basement, because he likes it. He wants to show people the stuff in the basement that this guy set up this awesome, bondage center.
My fuck den.
Just acts like he's just kidding, eating shit in the middle of the night, doesn't care. So then he said that this is even worse. He tells the police that, the agreement with Kevin Bacon was I'd kill him and I'd utilize his body. He said he would use his bone meal to plant tulips, his intestines to grow chestnuts in, or peach pits, either one, depending on what he's into at the time, and he would use his muscles to make beef jerky, or Kevin Bacon jerky.
Making bacon.
And the U.S. Postal Service intercepted a package from Mark containing a dehydrator.
He was
right
gonna
after
do
the murder.
it.
Yeah, he bought a fucking dehydrator.
He was going to do it.
He was going to do all of what we just said. He was going to absolutely
shit.
do all of that. That was his plan. He's not lying. It's exactly what he was going to do. He bought a dehydrator. It was on the way.
Like it's 1996.
He just jumped on Amazon and was like, dehydrate, which he's lucky because in just a few months, you couldn't even get a dehydrator.
Couldn't get
they were all bread machine, dehydrator, everybody bought it all up. So he's ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So he's arrested, obviously. Clearly, Mark's arrested. The Kevin Bacon's father, Carl, said the police have definitely identified who he is. They've dealt with him in the past, and this is the same person they arrested on site, and he has not left their custody at all.
Wow.
Obviously not. Mark's appointed a public defender. The county prosecutor says this is a case that should have only existed in the pages of a horror book. Pages of a horror book?
What does that mean?
What are you, 112 years old? Right. In the pages of a horror book. Like, what are you talking about?
This shouldn't happen except on Netflix. That's what you should say.
That Mary Shelley should have wrote this. Like, shut up. Neighbors here are freaked the fuck out, as you can imagine. The Michigan State Police clear the scene about 3:15 p.m. on December 28th. Neighbors say they're shaken that something like this could happen in their small community of Morrice. Oh, that's right from the paper.
Can you imagine?
Here's Mark's neighbor, Art Turner. He says, you hear a lot of rumors. what was done and this and that, and you think that couldn't happen, but now we're finding out it did happen. I can't even imagine anybody doing something like that.
Well, you better.
Wow. And Pauline, his wife, also says, yeah, it's crazy. They said that they first heard the police arrive. The troopers then came to their door to ask questions regarding the resident of, whoever lives there, Mark. And Art Turner said, quote, it's a messed up deal. It's been a fiasco all day. Damn traffic's been backed up for miles. Mailman didn't even come today. This is ridiculous.
Goddamn I-69 loaded with SWAT teams.
This is silly, damn it. His other neighbor, Michael Parks, said that he's seen odd behavior before. He said he knew about the leather kilt blood on the face thing. He saw that. He said, quote, we're all just farmers and deer hunters, so it's quiet. We moved from Atlanta, and I thought we were going to get away from crowds and all this kind of stuff, but I guess you never know who your neighbors are.
That's a good point, sir.
You can't move away from crime.
No.
It happens everywhere. It's just you can't move. You can move away from odds of crime.
You can move away from a specific event.
Yeah,
right.
Somewhere. People's heads are always going to be chopped off somewhere.
They're coming, yeah.
Another guy named Derek who lives by, he said that he was disturbed by the cannibalism detail. He said, quote, now that part's disgusting. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Then he says, and this is after they said, what'd you think of the cannibalism? I'm going to read this quote. Now that part's disturbing. That's nasty. He's a little nuts. Now, come on, man. Think about what you're saying
now.
for just 1 second.
He's
Fuck.
You ate him, sir.
He's a little nuts, like he knew what was happening, and he just said, hey, yeah, come on in and look around like there's nothing wrong. So obviously Carl Bacon is upset. He said that his son passed away sometime late Christmas Eve, early Christmas morning. He said the medical examiner is not sure of the exact time as of right now. We know it was before 2-something because that's when he sent the frying pan text to James Carlson. Mm-hmm. So it was before that. They said that they hope their son's story will help others as new details have been released about what happened there. He said, Carl said he obviously got into something he wasn't prepared for. We all make mistakes. It's gut-wrenching to hear the details, and we're just beside ourselves. Yeah. Carl goes on to say, what was released today shows Kevin had a dark side. I don't know if it's a dark side. He's just into sexual shit. For those who knew and loved Kevin did not know that side. Those who knew him knew his good side. He loved and cherished everyone he touched, and he touched a lot of the lives in his past during his short life. It's not a bad side that he likes to...
No matter which way you come, you should be able to do it safely. That's all.
Well, it doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. It's, that was his good side, bad side. It's not good side, bad side. I mean, he had a
bad side, and that's why he was hung upside down and had his nuts chopped off. That's not his fault, for Christ's sake.
Damn. The roommate, Michelle Myers, said, quote, there should have been further investigation. There should have been further follow-up. Just some basic police work and some basic follow-up, I think, could have changed this whole situation, and Mr. Bacon might still be alive. She said, how come Mark wasn't questioned then when the guys were running away from his house with kilts? Is it because it's just gay guys doing stuff in the basement? And then she says, what would have happened if it was a girl chained up in the basement and ran out of there? Even if she said, don't worry about it, the police probably would have investigated it more.
Maybe.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I would assume so. But that's like, we're in the Dahmer thing again. And also it's a small town and it's, who knows. So Jamie Arnold, the ex-husband here who dodged a real bullet here, he said, quote, I don't believe it was premeditated. I think it was, like I said, a hookup that went wrong, that went terribly, terribly wrong. Never in a million years did I think he'd be capable of doing such a horrendous crime. He says that he never thought Mark could seriously harm or kill anybody, and he said that since then he has left the area, Jamie Arnold said.
Jamie, why would you leave?
He said that people hear about it. People are harassing him, saying he was involved in it and he helped lure the guy here and all that kind of shit.
Well,
so
if he was not capable of this and it was not premeditated, why did he just buy a knife?
That's what I mean. He bought a knife. That day he was thinking of something. So Jamie says, in hindsight, it's easy to sit back and speculate at the time, but at the time you're going through it, there are emotions and feelings involved. You don't want to think that the person you fell in love with is some crazy homicidal maniac. I pray that God is there for Kevin Bacon's family in their time of need and that he helps us all get through this one day at a time.
I wish Carl hadn't
I
done
know.
this too. Every
I know.
time.
I know.
God,
Every time you say it,
impossible
it's
to
like
take it serious. God damn it,
Kevin
Carl.
Bacon. There was roommates. Okay, or an article.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Like a major paper that says man eats Kevin Bacon.
Why did they
Man
do
kills
that?
and eats Kevin Bacon,
Why
and
did
you
they
to
do
click
that?
on it, and it's obviously not that Kevin Bacon. Wasn't there a rumor around this time that Kevin Bacon was dead? Wasn't there an internet thing? Did that come from this?
It had to.
Because I remember something about
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's dead, and he had to come out and go, "I'm not dead. I'm here."
It's got to be that.
It had to be
Right.
from this,
There's
right?
No other reason.
It was another guy named Kevin Bacon. I'm pretty sure it was. So the roommate, Michelle, said, "I'm just in shock about the whole thing. It's just hard to process right now." She says, I think, the last person to see him alive that he knew before this guy. Now, how common is this, by the way?
What?
Cannibalism.
Oh.
Let's talk about that. Cannibalistic homicides accounted for only 0.01% of all killings tracked in the U.S. between 1960 and 2018.
How many?
0.01%. Very rare.
Holy.
That's how rare it is to fucking want to eat somebody.
And
I thought it'd be more common than that.
I've heard of it so many times.
Well, we've heard of it several times on this show and with
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer because it tends to stand out when it
Yeah.
happens because it's that rare. That's
That
why
tells
we
you
freak out about it.
How many murders happen?
It's crazy. There's a research study named Kin Avoidance and Cannibalistic Homicide. And there's also a fringe community of the sexual people.
Yeah.
This is a sex fetish expert named Catherine Gates, who's probably totally vanilla, I bet. Missionary only. Get the fuck out of here.
Never puts it in her mouth.
Never. Quote, there are people who want to be the meat, and they call themselves meat boys and meat girls.
Okay.
So this is a whole society here that goes on. She said she's researched all this stuff, including BDSM, cannibalism, furries, the whole deal. She says, and then there's the ones who want to do the cooking and eating. They would be man eaters and woman eaters.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing here. She says, often in order to make the chat more exciting, people will try and make it feel realer by introducing realistic details so they can get more of a jolt and more arousal. But the person who wants to do this for real is someone who's mentally ill.
Yeah.
Clearly. This Gates runs a website called kinkmap.com and also wrote a book in 1999 called Deviant Desires based on her unscientific anthropological exploration of niche kink subcultures and cannibalism play. She said, even if it sounds real, so she knows her kink.
She's been around it. Yeah, she went and explored it.
She knows
Yeah.
her shit. She says no matter how real it sounds, it's almost always a fairy tale type thing version.
Yeah.
She said people have all sorts of far out fantasies that they want to explore and have no intention of doing for real. They don't actually want to eat somebody's penis because it wouldn't taste very good, but they like the idea.
It wouldn't taste good? I don't know.
I mean, you could probably you can season anything to taste.
You could deep
you know what
fry
I mean?
it.
I've had terrible meat that you
Beer
season
batter, that
comes out fine.
motherfucker. I'll bet it's delicious
Oh.
on a taco.
Fuck yeah, some cocktail sauce on it. I'll eat it. Tempura, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say penis tempura would be the best. That way it's delicate.
And rice. I'll try it.
Yeah, it's delicate, I feel like. So,
Dip it in soy sauce.
oh, man. So Gates said that's terrible.
Yeah.
Gates says that the cannibal fantasy is a, quote, very particular flavor of BDSM, which
Don't
they
say
said
it like that.
particular flavor. She said, that's why I said that. She said particular flavor. And it's a little nuts. We know that. She says that for the meat, the excitement is being the center of attention, the object of desire, to submitting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's being a fucking, a
You're the
submissive
star of the
person
show.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He said, obviously, this is not normal that they're going to do it, but 99% of the cannibal fantasy that plays out online rather than, it's kind of plays out online rather than in person because it's kind of a secret thing. She said she rarely has met cannibal fetishists who cross into reality, although she says that she did have an interview subject who asked repeatedly to be prepared and eaten by Gates and her friends at a dinner party. She said, quote, those people are mentally unwell in general, and this is just a manifestation of that. The way they're taking this to the extreme, they take other things to the extreme. That makes a lot of sense. And a Marlies Oostland, who's a neuroscientist, researcher, and professor, conducted a 2020 published study called The Kin Avoidance and Cannibalistic Homicide with neuroscientist Michael Brecht, and they studied actual people who actually wanted to eat people and wanted to be eaten. The research looked at 121 cannibals identified since 1900 and their 631 victims. Yeah, the study did not include cannibals who ate humans based on cultural norms like a religious ritual or, some sort of, Papua New Guinea.
Just the ones that
whatever. Or for survival also, the Donner Party or the other ones like that too. Said instead their work focused on people such as German computer repair technician Armin Mewes, who severed his willing victim's penis, which they attempted to eat together while the victim was still alive. Oh my God. Holy shit, I didn't need to know that happened.
Take this and make this for us.
Oh my God. They said when he died, this guy continued to eat other portions of his body.
Wow.
The research looked at whether cannibals are less likely to eat their relatives, which it appears they are less likely to eat their relatives, but also revealed other data related to cannibalism. So you're more likely to kill a relative, but less likely to eat them. That's interesting. That's some knowledge. Cannibals are often more often older men, victims more frequently younger women and men who wants old, stringy meat, I guess.
I don't want to be bad. I want it fresh.
Yeah, they said a lot of cannibalistic homicides were sexual in nature, whether before or after the killing, just like Dahmer.
Yeah.
We find sex or rape involvement in quite a lot of cannibalistic homicides. We also found that victims were mostly strangers or unrelated acquaintances. One more thing that we noticed was that, quite interestingly, actually, is the weapon of choice. They said cannibals likely using knives.
Yeah.
They're often compelled by what began as a fetish focused on eating the meat. They said quite a lot say they didn't necessarily want to kill, but they had this dream of eating meat of their victim, and the only way to eat the meat of the victim usually is to kill them.
Right.
Yeah, so they said, I think it's very clear that any offender of cannibalistic homicide has some kind of mental illness, regardless of how we define that illness. Yeah, she said sometimes they really prepare a special meal with it. They get a special wine to accompany the meat from the victim, and they have a fancy dinner for themselves.
Yep.
Real Silence of the Lambs style here.
Foie gras shit, yep.
Sometimes they sent it to, for instance, neighbors who were completely unaware where this meat was coming from.
That's
We've heard of that
so
before.
fucked up. If you want it, you do it. Don't leave me the fuck out of it.
Yeah, oh, hey, look what I made. Fuck. Genitals were the third most popular body part to be consumed. Well, they don't say what the top two are.
Yeah.
Heart, probably.
I bet it's a bicep,
Bicep,
and the
ass muscle, the ass, and a dick. This woman, Oostland's a vegetarian. She says there's not much of a distinctive taste that distinguishes human meat from other popular animal meat, according to accounts reviewed by people. On numerous occasions, human meat was sold and probably eaten by cannibals as ostrich, pork, horse, or tenderloin, mostly without any customer complaints reported.
Nobody
this
has
has
any
happened in
idea.
the world.
Yep.
While people are repulsed, they said the revulsion is accompanied by fascination. You're listening to this still.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Still here.
Yeah. And because culture's fix on it.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer, Albert Fish, the Donner Party. Everyone knows who these people are still. You know what I mean? Fucking the Alive, the Andy's that Alive movie where they had the soccer team or whatever had to eat people, and Hannibal Lecter, all that shit. She says, we believe that this fascination goes beyond a simple interest in the exotic, unusual, or the bizarre. The discovery of an apparent connection between cannibalism and sex suggests possible reasons for this fascination. I mean, I still get goosebumps talking about this. I'm trying to have happier conversations at parties, though.
I'm trying to be much easier to deal with in public, but it's real hard. Well, I know too much.
You're at a party. Everyone's got a drink in their hand, and someone walks up to you, and they go, do you know the penis is the third most consumed body part by sexually motivated cannibals? That you're probably going to have someone walk away from you, unless they're one of us. Unless it's me or Jimmie or somebody. Then they'll be like, for real? Tell me more.
What are the other two?
Mark's attorney here asked the judge to add a charge. You know how there'll be a long list of charges that the jury can choose from. Add a charge of assisting a suicide to it.
Oh,
because that's what he wanted. Yeah, wow, that's pretty interesting. They said the defendants cannot add charges on, so the judge denied his request. In court during his arraignment, he uses his aliases here. on his felony advice rights form, he signed with the Olikos alias.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the gay escort profile.
Right.
Then at the arraignment, though, the judge said, "Sir, are you Mr. Latunsky?"
Yeah.
Latunsky, whatever. He said, quote, "No.
Oh,
My name is Edgar Thomas Hill.
welcome.
Mark Lutinsky is my nephew."
What?
Huh? Where the fuck did that come from? My nephew.
Fascinating
What?
choice.
What the fuck are you talking about? He gave the name Edgar Thomas Hill there and to his attorney. He then says that, "I'm Edgar Thomas Hill. I'm part of the Thomas clan of Wales,"
Oh.
and was given the Lutinsky moniker as protection. That's what he told his lawyer, who his lawyer then turns to the judge and goes, "Dude," he says, quote, because Lutinsky turns to him, says this, and then his lawyer turns to the judge and says, quote, "He believes he's named someone else. He believes he's from a royal family out of Wales, from the Thomas clan, and just the nature of the crime itself, what he did and how he did it, that has come out just by the nature. As an attorney, I have to send him for an evaluation." I don't know. He's out of his fucking mind, clearly.
I mean, the first
And I
thing
said,
in the
sure.
charges is the name. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
we
he's
can't
got
even-
3 different ones.
We can't even
Couldn't
agree
figure that
there.
out.
Yeah.
No. So he does that. They said, though, his attorney says he's been very cooperative and very polite. I mean, he's doing that. But he also really seems to believe the grandiose stories he's telling people. Wow. That's the thing. So the judge orders a competency test. He's sent to the Center for Forensic Psychiatry to determine if he's competent to stand trial. If he's competent, then they're going to conduct a criminal responsibility test, which will test if he was competent at the time of the crime. Yeah. You have to get him competent now to get him into the court to see if you can figure out if he was competent then.
Wow.
So they said, the defense said, "We are alleging that maybe at the time of this offense he was criminally insane." They said it'll probably be a 60 to 90-day process. They said the forensic center's pretty backed up right now, so there's a delay in getting people down there to get evaluated. So... yeah,
and there's a disease ravaging the planet. So
that's the other thing that's happening right now. Well, that wasn't quite yet. This was like,
when is this?
Like 2 weeks from now. That happens.
This is in
early February.
Oh,
early
wow.
February.
They're really
so it's
speedy trial
right before that. Yeah. So, this is his arraignment. They can't figure that part out. Never mind a trial. So they said once his evaluation is scheduled, the county jail will transport him and he'll be scheduled. Whatever. So. They said it can take 30 days to get a report. If he's found not competent, he's going to be hospitalized and treated till he's deemed competent. Carl Bacon says he feels like Mark is playing the mental health card.
Okay. I mean,
quote unquote. Some
right.
people are crazy. Yeah. I get to you want to punish the guy. I totally get that. But yeah, some people are crazy. I can't imagine what the guy's going through. They said that, quote, he's used the mental health card to get out of situations in the past, and he's attempting to use it again. I would like to see him locked up for the rest of his life in some form or another. Okay. That's totally fair. Yeah. Completely understandable. The prosecutor said that he's seen his share of homicides and dismemberment cases in 35. I'm sorry, the lieutenant said that. I've seen some stuff in 35 years in the police department, but I've never seen cannibalism quite like this before. Yeah. He said that he suggested those using dating apps have meetings in public places and keep their friends apprised of their whereabouts. You know, like every time anyone's had a blind date since the beginning of fucking time. Right. You should still do that, still.
Have some safety, some wherewithal.
Yes. He also said that it would be better off here if people were... not only people, but society, everybody was more comfortable with sexuality shit. He said, It doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, bisexual, it's 2020 and it's okay. In the society we live in this culture nowadays, you can tell somebody, let somebody know where you're going. Yeah. At least somebody let them know, which he did. He let somebody know where he was going. It didn't help any. Still got killed. So the funeral, there's not a lot. He has no money. His parents don't have a lot of money.
Oh, shit.
It's kind of tough. But... Jeffree Star, the makeup guy on YouTube, heard what a big fan he was. I guess he had tattoos that were referencing Jeffree Star stuff. So he hears all about this, and his sister, Kevin Bacon's sister, set up a GoFundMe page, and Jeffree Star donated $20,000 to it.
Good. That's
a funeral. They end up raising $36,000.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, Kevin Bacon, he got robbed by Bernie Madoff, so
did
you
he
can't
donate
expect
his-
money from him. But Kevin Bacon did tweet, actually. He did tweet for obvious reasons. I'm thinking this morning about the friends and family of this young person, Kevin Bacon. He said his life was taken from him much too soon. His love was hairdressing. I bet he would have done a great job on this mess on my head. R.I.P. KB. I'm devastated to hear of the passing of someone from Michigan who lived their life fearlessly and was taken too soon. So that's nice. Bacon's parents said they were overwhelmed by the support that came from the community. People actually were supportive, and they said it was amazing. The Wendy Walters, a friend of his, said his dancing, his sassiness, and his love for makeup and hair, and how good of a stylist he was. I'm just going to love everything about him. I just miss him. Which makes sense, yeah. And Bacon's parents, Carl, said when you use these apps, just let other people know who you're meeting and where you're going to be at, so you have a safety net behind you. And he says, my son was a real good person. He was compassionate, cared for the people he met, cared for the people he worked with, and he loved. So they now find out the cops are investigating the other instances of the guys running away with the kilt, all that sort of thing. And they want to check around to make sure that there are no missing people, if maybe he hasn't done this and actually ate somebody and grinded them up and do all that shit. And they also found on rentmen.com, it appears to be attached to nude photos of Mark and the Olikos alias, if you in a Google image search of the name. So
rentmen.com.
Rent.men it is.
Oh, boy.
Rent.men. In jail, waiting to go to the mental place here, he is found unresponsive in his cell after not eating.
Oh, just playing possum?
Well, we don't know. He didn't eat. He was treated and taken to a hospital as a precaution. He was returned to his cell a short time later. They say he hasn't been eating since he came through here, but they didn't characterize it as a hunger strike. Just was being weird. So, Jamie Arnold, he said he left the area, and he said, I had to get out of there. It was a dangerous situation because people were accusing him of being an accomplice and yelling at him in the street and shit like that. So his defense attorney tells the Detroit Free Press that a physician has found Mark incompetent to stand trial.
What?
So the district court judge agreed to accept the recommendation and referred him to another institution. And they said what that means is everything's on hold in regards to the trial while he gets treatment. If he is deemed competent in the next 15 months, then he'll proceed to trial. They said they were going to try to restore him to competency within 15 months. That's the treatment.
Okay.
That's a magical date that they put up there.
Fingers crossed.
June of 2020, James Carlson sues Mark.
Oh?
Yes. They said, quote, Mark Latunsky must answer for the heinous acts committed against our client. Mr. Carlson deserves justice for the trauma he endured, an experience that will haunt him for the rest of his life. They're suing him for $75,000 for negligence and gross negligence, assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, and damages.
Okay, and I'm on his side and I think he deserves. But dude, you can't wait this long.
You've
What
been
the
texting
fuck?
him, asking for pictures of the torture room.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You can't do this now.
Yeah, this is eventually dismissed.
Good.
About a month after this, they said that the motion to withdraw was filed, cited a breakdown in the attorney-client relationship to the point where further representation of plaintiff James Carlson is no longer possible.
Okay.
So it eventually gets dismissed without prejudice, which means that Carlson has the right to refile the lawsuit with the same claims in the future if he chooses. So the house, 703 Tyrell here, West Tyrell, it's auctioned off.
Oh, really?
And it is sold, because it's a hot housing market after that, and it still is now. It is sold at auction for more than $20,000 over the asking price.
Wow.
Okay. Now, it had 4 bidders here come to the courthouse to put their offers in. The Sheriff Sergeant Douglas Chapman told the police the highest bid came in at $101,733.28, which is $21,001 over the minimum asking price.
So
that was, I guess, originally purchased for $80,000 in May of 2001 and had a market value, they said, of about $93,000.
Jesus.
Now, the guy who buys the house comes forward. His name is Alex Deal. And he says that this house, he bought the house, but it ended up in a legal entanglement that leads to its return to the family, the Latinsky family. He bought it, and he said it was a horror scene when he went in there. He said, quote, "I had to clean up human remains." Yes. That's what he said.
So they took the body but left like all the blood and all that stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it gets more than that. He recounted in the 5 months he spent living in the house. He bought the home in February 2020. He said in the 5 months living in the house, the disturbing things he saw. He said the intricate design and how specific things were of the basement.
Yeah.
That's creepy. He said that he provided chilling details of what he found. He said specifically there was a lot, and he had a hard time talking about it. He said the basement, the den, the master bedroom, the kitchen, specifically the dishwasher.
What?
He said he'll never forget what he saw in that dishwasher. Quote, 3 sets of dishes with human remains on them, and all 3 sets are in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher was never had electricity to it. It was brand new. It still had the plastic in front of it.
Why did they just leave it in there?
They just left it.
Cops
You got oh no, the crime scenes you have to pay to get those cleaned yourself if you own a house. The cops, they don't pay.
So they just take pictures of it and leave it?
There's whole businesses that are specifically to clean up crime scenes like that for people. And they said, well, why the fuck did you want to buy that house? And he said, I bought the object, not the subject. Simple real estate transaction. Houses don't kill people. It's not the house's fault, is what he said. But he said he owned it until July 2020 when the family, the Latinsky family, regained possession of it. He said, I never sold the home back. Mark bought his crime scene back. He bought it back.
But how?
I don't know how that happened. September 2022, out of nowhere and against the vehement advice of his attorneys, Mark says he's pleading guilty to first-degree murder.
Oh.
Doesn't care.
Okay.
Mary Chartier, one of his lawyers, said she believed a jury trial would have ended with definitely a different result and probably putting him in a hospital, I assume, here. So she said, while it's not an outcome that Mr. Krause and I, that's the other lawyer, think is in his best interest, we do have to follow his wishes. He is the client. Yeah. We have discussed this matter, and consistently he's been very clear more than once, multiple times, on his choice and reasoning. They said that I'm glad we got the plea, is what the prosecutor said. Now they don't have to go through this whole trial. So the investigators, after the guilty plea, one detective says that the crime scene was the worst thing he's ever seen in his entire career. Right. They said that one Michigan State Police detective said, I'm pretty surprised that he, admitted guilt to begin with and then pled guilty. He said, quote, I had not seen anybody in person located in that manner that Kevin was found. So it was definitely not something I would normally respond to, talking about seeing the body like that. He was pretty reserved, pretty stoic, not a lot of emotion, short answers, talking about Mark. He said what happens at the degree hearing is that the judge will make a finding of whether it's first or second degree murder or manslaughter. It's open murder in Michigan, and then later on they decide what degree of murder it is. That's how they call it, open murder. They believe there's a strong case for first degree murder, which can carry life without parole. The prosecutor said it was really gruesome and horrific. I guess they're the words that come to mind. I guess fucking so. They said this is the first time in the entire county's history that someone's pled guilty to open murder.
Really?
Just not knowing what you're even going to be charged with. Just guilty to whatever you say.
Nobody's ever said, I'll take whatever.
No. Yeah, you don't do something and then go bill me whatever later. That's not what you do. So
send it to the house.
Shit. The sentencing comes around. Mm-hmm. Pamela Bacon, mom, says, quote, in your sick, twisted mind, you probably don't think you did anything wrong, but in reality, you took our world away. This Christmas, I hope you suffer like we have because you won't be able to be with your family. I hope you feel pain as you are all alone with all these years to come. His attorney, though, Mark's attorney, Mary Chartier, said, quote, it sounds like Fartier, said, quote, Mr. Latinsky is remorseful and truly regrets his actions. He knows that he cannot turn back the clock, and he certainly cannot bring Mr. Bacon back to life. The Prosecutor said, I tried to think of a word for this murder. What came to my mind is pure evil and the ripple effect it had on the family, the friends of Kevin, the court staff, my staff, and anyone who has read this horrific story. And the judge says, to Mr. Bacon's family, I know nothing can ease your suffering, and I know that the weight of your pain is without measure. But it's my hope that perhaps today's sentence will be a small amount of comfort in what I know is an enormity of hurt. You, sir, may fuck off, life without parole.
Yeah.
And a concurrent term of 11 months for dismemberment and mutilation of a dead body.
For eating the nuts.
Just in case.
Yeah.
For eating
Deal with
his nuts. Yep. Emily, his ex-wife, Mark's ex-wife, said, quote, my son didn't even want to wear his varsity jacket at a college event because it had the last name on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep. And she said she has to remind her kids that mental illness changes her father. It doesn't change the way he felt about them.
Right.
She said this is not who their dad was. He absolutely loved them. The person he was then would be horrified at the person he is now.
Sure.
And I make sure they know it's still okay to love him because that's who they knew. He was their dad.
Right.
Kevin Bacon's family, a mess. Kevin Bacon's mother said, because of this, we got a divorce. We just couldn't move past it. Oh, that's fucking horrible. That's terrible. That really sucks.
The worst.
Yeah, that's so fucking bad. Carl Bacon said, my only thought was going back to the day he was born. That's the only thing I could think of, looking at him in my hands. I was the second person to hold him after his mother. Just holding him in my hands and the only thing I could think about. Now that's no longer. Pamela, mom, said he would want everybody to move forward and do what they had to do for their goals and dreams. And I'm going to say it like my daughter said it. Please be careful on the internet because you never know what's going to happen. We will always miss him, no matter what. We're going to miss him. She said because of that, we got divorced, and it's not been an easy thing to do. And trying to cope with my daughter right now because of what Lutensky did, my daughter blames me. I don't know why, but she blames me for what happened with the divorce and what's happened to Kevin. So she kind of doesn't want to talk to me right now. It's destroyed the family. Wow. Maybe they weren't okay with, or maybe they weren't completely okay with him being gay, so they felt like he had to hide it. That's why he didn't tell people. I don't know. But she said he was an angel to us and he always will be. That's terrible. Grinder, Carl Bacon says he'd like to take some umbrage with Grinder, which is hilarious. Carl Bacon has umbrage with Grinder. He said they didn't give us any info during the initial investigation, said they were rather uncooperative, said there's no regulation of law on how they operate and how accountable they are to people's activities on their apps. Also, that can be a weird thing when you're talking about, quote, alternative sexual lifestyles and governments being able to subpoena what you're doing and stuff. There's that goes into a gray area there. But he said Grindr had a response. We here at Grindr are heartbroken to hear about this terrible tragedy.
Are you?
Any serious statement that starts out "we here at Grindr" is just hilarious. And share our condolences with Mr. Bacon's family and friends. While for privacy reasons we do not offer public comment on individual user accounts, we remain fully committed to working with law enforcement in the event of any investigation. Carl Bacon said he'd like to see some kind of legislation done to make them be held more accountable. They said that was our biggest obstacle in the investigation. We did not know where he was going or who he was meeting with. If he had relayed that information early on, it may have been avoided. It may not have been avoided, but it could have been accelerated a lot quicker if we knew who and where. Mark's fucking LinkedIn page is still up, by the way.
Really?
Chemist at Self-Employed in Morrice, Michigan, with 39 connections, says he received a BS in chemistry from Central Michigan University, worked in the barrier resins division of the Dow Chemical Corporation in Midland, Michigan, characterizing the rates of decomposition of polymeric materials. He obtained a master's in chemistry from Iowa State University of Science and Technology while studying physical organic chemistry and the mechanisms of free radical processes. Who the fuck knows what that is? He has 47 followers, though. That
holy shit
is Morrice, Michigan, everybody. And holy balls, is that a wild fucking case.
0.1%.
0.01%. Yeah.
Of all murders end up in...
Crazy. 1/100th of 1% of murders. So that's insane. If you like that story, tell everyone about it. Tell everyone you know. Tell everyone you run into on the street. Stop your car in an intersection. Get out and shout it from your roof. Also, definitely get on whatever app you're listening on and give us a review. That's the easiest way to do it. Give us 5 stars. Helps a lot. Helps drive us up the charts. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. Chicago, August 12th. Get your tickets.
Let's go.
Get them right now. A lot of everything up till then is sold out. Other shows available are December. We have Dallas, and then there's Atlanta, Charlotte, Philly, and a couple left in D.C. Get your tickets right now. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. Follow us on social media. We are at we're at Small Town Murder. That's what we are. At Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Murder Small on Twitter.
There it is.
Find us there and follow us there. Also, you definitely want Patreon. Patreon.com/crime and sports. $5 or more. A cup of coffee gets you the entire thing, the whole back catalog, couple hundred bonus episodes to binge on. New ones every other week. One crime and sports, one small town murder. You get it all. This week is no different. For crime and sports this week, we're going to talk about theme park disasters. How fun is that?
Oh,
I
boy.
mean, that's a fun subject. There's
injuries.
a lot of death. Oh, there's death, destruction, mayhem. It's got it all here. And then for small town murder, we are going to talk about prison riots. Some of the craziest prison riots that we've ever heard of there. That is Patreon. That's fun shit. You get access to all of it. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you're going to get a shout out, which happens just in a second. Also, your stupid opinions. It's coming. We're trying. We're pushing as hard as we can to get it done as quickly as humanly possible. And we're trying. It's not on us. It's out of our hands at this point and into business hands that we have nothing to do with. So we're waiting. We can't wait. Thank you for wanting to hear this and for giving a shit about it. So thank you for that. That said, Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who we couldn't fucking live without because they keep the show going and they're the goddamn best people on earth. Hit me with them right now. Jimmie.
This week's executive producers are Jordan Bennett, of course, obviously.
Hey, Jordan, our girl.
Margaret Thatcher's dank meat sleeve. That's disgusting. Why would you do that to me?
It's a bad visual.
And Michaela, happy birthday. It doesn't narrow it down very much, Michaela. Except that it's from DeLuca. Do you know DeLuca? Are you Michaela? Or do you know a person named DeLuca? They wish you a happy birthday.
From somebody else.
Other producers this week are Fanny Pfister, you son of a bitch.
Course.
Peyton Meadows, Dixon, my ass.
Hey, very nice.
Oh, boy. Why do they do this? Does that make you feel better? Sweet Pete, Gary Friedman, Janice Hill, Gorilla Monsoon's comb over. Shitta Perlman has relapsed, James. She's back on the rosinitis. And we're really pulling for her. Rupert Pumpkins, Lizzie B, Lynn Ash, Sandy Minge. Oh, yeah, of course. Caitlin Wellborn, Jan Lewis, Kathleen Cox, Tucker Smith, Diana Ortiz, Caressa Hill, Grant Richard, Anne Marie Marquis. What? Patrick Badizzi. What?
Not that, probably.
Fasfer, Chase Applegate, Holly Royce, Caitlin Dornan, Carrie Elwell, Sydney Irvine, Jess Vixen, Jenny Fernandez, Whitney Smith, Bethany Morin, De Bushmeister, Daryl Hunt, Maria Saldino, Jessica Nyhill, Neil, Ezekiel Soiree, Katie McGarry, Jesse Goodhue, Brooke Sandstorm, that's real. Amanda Cook,
cool name.
Yeah, Barrett Thornton, that's a cowboy name. Holly Trexler, Randy Faleo. Oh boy, be careful with that one. Justin Reynolds, Alexandra Moody, Zana Roth, Daniel Valdivinos, Jody Orlando, Jennifer Morgan, Boston Hensley, Jeremiah Murphy, Kyle Benjamin, Jason with no last name, Brenda Wegner, Kyle Yoon, Jeff Brown, Christy Durham, Kristen Wells, Melody Potter, McKelly? That's McKell, right? Paige, Daniel Brucato, Heather Bellinger, Austin Witters, Honora with no last name, Sonny Palmidier? I don't know. Jeff Schaefer, Danielle Cantrell. Crazy Kiwi in the Land of Oz. Greg Eckler, Sarah with no last name, Lindsay White, Christopher Miller, Peachy Nemo, Lacey Keyser, Mary Hudson, Kelsey with no last name, Brian McDavitt, Dan Peruzzi, Jennifer Swazachick. What? Swazu? Suchik?
Yeah, all of that.
Aaron Keeley, Jolene Pritchard, Heather Hunoff, Whitney Bernard, Emily Casey, Sky Emiliano, Emiliano. Trisha L. Justin with no last name. Tanzania Lucas. Kaylee. Baresh. Wendy Bagneski. Bev Tremblay. Nathan with no last name. Kim with no last name. Japcat. That feels awful. Sean McAdams. Eric Everett. Stephen Sowers. Jacob Olenberger. Paul McGreevy. Crystal Moyer, Brandon Wilburn, Ratchy J, Julia Rose, Jeannie, Colleen Crowley, Jess Badeau, Bodot. Okay. John Kirby, Susan Rez, Jane Comtois.
All right, fine.
All right. Kelly Smith, Faye Youssef, Faye. Marina with no last name. Marina, no last name. Matthew DeRizio, Susan Wilson, Francesca Brim, Depolar Diamond. Depolar. All right. Gay Nolan, Brock Skaggs, Cassie Costello, Flat Woods, Nancy Bonilla, Victoria Walsh, Ari Van de Graaf, Sonia Silvers, Jenny Lynn Warren, Jason Kozian, Eddie Fox, Sarah Bradburn, Kim McGugan, Madeline M, Toby Armstrong, Sydney Roberts, Leah J. Russell, Leah Jane Russell, Lisa with no last name, David Dorn, Adam Toplass, Becca Haas, Flexbert Hamilton, Mary Clark with no, Mary Clark is her name, Penelope Carter, Ron Reader, Sean Dennehy, Sky with no last name, Callie, Grossheim, MSM.
Damn it, grow a pair.
Grossum, Callie, Stevie Barr, Tanner Holmgren, McKenna Barajas, Lauren with no last name, Catherine Kruger, Randy Stone, Jesse Webb, Jacqueline Tinsley, Ryan Chapdelaine, that's right, Benjamin
I have no idea what that person's name is.
Gigi Lamb, Joseph Iramo, John Holyfield maybe, Zachary Cherakovich.
Cherakovich. Yeah, those are the same thing.
Dean Porter, John Duarte, Renee Murphy, Hope N., Joseph San Juan, Miriam McAdams, Kim Earl, Raj Panjaki, Pankachaki, Pankhania. Raj, wow. I'm never going to get that right. I really apologize.
Wow.
Wilson Hakapoko, Hakopa. Haley Schollhorn, Anna Leighton, and all of our patrons. You guys are unbelievable. Truly, thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. From the bottom of our hearts, we cannot tell you how much we appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you for everything. Thanks for your support. Thanks for telling people. Thanks for subscribing to Patreon. Thanks for it all, everybody. Tell your friends and keep coming back and listen to Crime and Sports too, goddammit. Do that. Keep hanging out with us. If you want to get a hold of either one of us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com. Links to everything. That said, until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.